We're on?
Yeah. Ow.
And here we go.
That's one way to start.
No, we're good? We're on?
Yeah, we're
Oh,
good.
shit.
Yeah.
Dude, are you all right?
Yeah, I pushed the chair on my toe. It hurt.
Get it together, man.
I know.
Come on. Like your daughter said, you're embarrassing me.
Shut it. Crazy kid, I swear.
When she said that, I was like,
I know,
wait,
right?
what? I was like, again, there was no one around us.
There's no one
But it was like
around
the
me.
funniest thing. She was like, she really, and her head moved. Was like,
Oh,
come on,
yeah.
you're embarrassing me. I was like, what? I was like, all right, little girl. Okay, we're back. For a couple of weeks, maybe, I think it was, since the last episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks. It seemed like 2 weeks.
Lots happened.
Yeah, a lot has happened.
A lot of interesting things going on. No, that doesn't work like that. Come on.
It sounds like it did.
I guess it did.
Yeah, jeez, come on, man. I don't even live here. Oh, really?
But why do you use it that way?
I don't know. It's there.
Whatever. 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 All right. What can we get over with? Because there's some things I want to say that happened in your neck of the woods.
Whatever you want to go over and whatever you want to start with, I'm fine with. I'm fine with anything.
So here's the thing.
I'm just trying
I don't even want to look it up, but I just want to rant about it because I'm sure I could look it up.
Go right ahead.
So the unfortunate news is that you guys were knocked out.
Yeah, we lost in playoffs.
Lost in playoffs. So let me put the scenario. I go over there to take photos. I go to the game. The game was set for Tuesday of last week, right?
Yes. Tuesday, 5
o'clock, and an away game at Los Altos High School.
Yeah.
And everything was fine. Weather doesn't look that bad. It was gloomy. There's cloudy. There's some dark clouds, but we didn't expect anything. Even though we can see our phones and probably see like, hey, it's gonna rain maybe. Going into it, everything was fine. Game looked like it was going pretty decent. Within 15, 16 minutes or so, you guys catch in a goal. You guys score a goal.
Yeah.
A legit, pretty well goal by one of his forwards. And kid you not, 2 minutes later, ref sees lightning, right?
Well, he hears it, I guess.
So he hears thunder first, and then he
I guess
apparently saw lightning from his perspective, which was behind all of us.
Yeah.
So like the other opposing team could have saw it, but whatever. Like if the ref saw it, he saw it. He called timeout or whatever and ran over and said, "Hey, we saw lightning."
Yeah.
So from there, you say again, what is the actual rule when that happens? You wait 30 minutes, or what was it that you said?
You have to wait 30 minutes after the first initial lightning strike. So when lightning hits, you start a timer 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, if no lightning has struck until then, you can go back and play. So basically what happened was that was happening like a lot. So there was like a 30-minute every like 2 minutes. Like they were just starting over. We had to restart it like every like 30 seconds.
Yeah, right. So lightning and thunder, all that was going on. And then it just started hailing as they told us, hey, there's a locker room, go over there. And then we went over there and started hailing. It was looking like this might not happen. So we waited. We almost waited like an hour, right?
Almost an hour, a little over an hour, yeah.
So in my head, okay, I'm obviously you're the coach. I'm not the coach. I personally would want to wait until it clears out. But again, I don't know the exact rules, nor do I know how the fucking refs feel at this point. Because I'm sure they're like, well, if this is not gonna happen, we're gonna go home. Yeah. There was 3 refs. And as all this was going on, I mean, I'm not faulting you, even the other coach or the guy who spoke to us, their DA or probably whatever. And even the refs. I'm probably more leaning towards on the refs on this in this type of scenario for CIF, for the high school soccer, to have more information when things go like this, because all they told you was like that, right? Yeah. Wait for 30 minutes, right? They didn't say. I don't know if they told you or the other coach, hey, you can wait till 7 p.m. or you can wait till 6. You know what I mean? Because like one, it's at their field. Yeah. It's their stadium. They can turn off the lights whenever the fuck they want. Yeah. So it's like, okay. As I was going, again, to me personally, I think I would have found like kind of waited more, but it just felt like everything was just rolling together. It was like everyone was deciding like, this is just too much. Like, let's just not play. Like, I was like, like it doesn't like what I noticed out here when weather happens like that, it doesn't stay like that all night unless the forecast is telling us, hey, this is going to stay like this all night, right?
Yeah.
And usually when the weather out here, if they say it's going to rain all day and all week, then we know for sure that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But when they say like, hey, this is unexpected, or like we knew this was going to, however you check your weather out here in California, it's like, it's pretty much said like, hey, it's just going to rain and be like that for like a couple hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what that was in my mind the whole time I was checking my phone. But when then you said you decided the game was 1-0, 15 minutes in. So again, I'm not faulting for you not knowing, nor the other coach not knowing, or maybe knowing. We don't know.
Yeah.
But if one of the refs said, hey, you guys can wait, but here's the rules. They might not let you start that time of 15 minutes in. They might not let you have the goal for if you want to suspend it for next day, right?
Yeah.
Which it was kind of leaning towards, and we were assuming that's what it was going to be like.
Yeah.
Again, for us, maybe not knowing all the rules, but when does this ever really happen all the time to know these rules, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like when do you like, okay, you should know this exactly when this happens. No, we really don't. It's in the moment. We're expecting what the refs would say because the refs kind of handled the game. And they kind of asked the questions to the coaches and whatnot.
Yeah.
So apparently, you guys decided, okay, let's play tomorrow.
Yeah.
The next day.
Yeah.
You know, it's this, and this. So that's what happened, which the game was suspended for the next day.
Yeah.
So we assumed. Even the other coach was like, yeah, if it's even their DA was like, yeah, if it's going to be 1-0, why not? Like, just leave it how it is. It's only fair, right?
Yeah.
We all assumed.
Yeah.
So come a couple hours later, you're telling me that you're trying to figure out what's the actual rules going on. And what you told me was what that they told you, what CIF or whoever you guys were speaking to, what exactly did they inform you with?
That if the game is suspended and they have not played a full entire half, that regardless of the score, the game has to be restarted from the beginning.
Which I think is bonkers.
Yeah,
in some sense,
I
like
think so too.
I'm trying to like go from their perspective as well, which I think their perspective is more like, oh, we don't want to deal with all that bullshit. We don't want to deal with, no, it was 1-0, or man, what if we even could have started over? It could have been different. Like, I'm sure they were just like, let's just set it to one way, just start it over, no matter like.
Yeah.
Because if you're telling me if it's a full half or just 30 minutes?
Full half.
This is a full half wasn't played, and some games could be 0-0. Some games, one team could have 3-0.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that CIF says, we don't give a shit. You were winning 3-0. You had the momentum, but we're going to start it all over. Mm-hmm. It's like, why the fuck do we even play?
Yeah.
Nor do like, if that's the rule, then we have to. It's like it felt like really like a power rule of like, hey, we don't care what the weather happens. We don't care about your score. Like, this rule's in place because of that weather. Meaning, like, we don't care if we knew the weather.
Yeah.
Like, to really check what's going on this week. Yeah. The rule's in place for like, hey, sorry, start over.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, if that's the case, I think there was times even from last season you say you could probably switch a game if you wanted to somehow.
Yeah.
Right, like if you wanted the game to be on Saturday.
Yeah.
But before I want to go into that, how do you agree to the other team saying okay? How does that come to? You just let them know that, hey, we want to do it.
We let them know, and the team either has to agree to it or not. Because the same thing happened the week prior, which was we wanted the 7 p.m. game, and the school was like no, because they had apparently a winter formal that night, and they wanted.
Wait, hold on, sorry. Let me backtrack you, because at that time there was 2 teams you were waiting on. Did you ask one team or did you ask both teams?
We asked both teams. One team didn't respond because I don't think they even knew that. I don't think they even thought they were going to win. Which was it, the losing team? The team that lost badly. Okay. And the team that we were going to, the other team
that you did play.
We did play that we asked also, they're the ones that responded, and we're like, okay. But in CIF, the ruling is that the games either have to be at 3 p.m. or 5 p.m. Anything else, any alternative time, has to be agreed upon both schools, and if the other school doesn't agree upon it, regardless, it's like you can't even if you're home, you can't do it because they don't agree with it. Which is dumb, which is mind-boggling. And if I get into my rant towards CIF, this is on me. It's not on Coach Mikey. Which most of the stuff does not make sense and needs to be updated for the current lifespan and the current lifestyle and the current like culture of this generation right now. Yeah,
a lot of things are not making sense, and it's unfortunate for teams that are going into this and go very well, but all of a sudden something that's out of their control of weather makes the other game impossible to have that momentum back. It was like, yeah, it's like, oh, we don't give a shit. You're about to lose again. So it's like other teams are hoping for this to happen. Like if people get into this and there's weather like that, they're like, no, let's they could be like, let's wait this out. No, let's have the game on Tuesday. But like, hey, you know there's gonna be a storm. No, let's see if it happens. They could take advantage and say, oh, hey, you guys were winning 2-0. Okay, we're gonna play tomorrow.
Yeah,
because they knew the weather was gonna happen.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that these rules, the way they have it down, obviously no one's gonna give a shit what I'm saying from CIF. But all I want to say is that it's unfortunate. It's not really fair. It's not really what's the word? It's not really calculated perfectly in my view, in most people's view, that mostly didn't pass the way they were supposed to, and the momentum was taken away by a stupid rule. The whole thing that you said, it has to be either agreed upon from 3 to 5. High school football plays at 7, so it doesn't make sense to me how soccer can't play at 7, because you're saying, whoever is CIF saying these rules is telling me 22 players on the same field that football plays can't play at 7. It makes no fucking sense. Someone tell me, please, what's the major difference from playing at 5 and playing at 7 when high school football? I played football. I get it. They bring revenue. That's the American sport. But at the same time, like, you guys are being unruly and unfair to the other sports that deal with weather.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I understand football plays 1 game a week. I get that. There's a schedule. And even we realized during the pandemic, you guys shifted a whole season into spring.
Yeah.
But you're telling me right now that this is possible. It's a matter of convenience that upper heads at CF don't give a shit.
Oh, yeah.
It's the way they want to say it, the way they want to put the fingers, the power grab. It's like, hey, it's a power rule. I want to do it this way. It is what it is. You guys are going to listen. All right. So hopefully it gets to a point where some of these coaches felt that as well, because I saw Santiago High School go through the same shit.
Yeah.
I even DM'd them, like, yo, I hope you guys get a chance to have the same score, because apparently we're not. And it happened to them too. I think they were up 1-0 and they lost in penalties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's tough. It's like, how do you tell your kids, like, hey, this rule is why you guys lost. I understand about a regame and saying, hey, you played the game. Like, as I was telling Mikey, it's like, hey, you still played a game.
Yeah.
And you may have lost. It was a full game. You got a chance to play a game. But the reason why I'm saying is, like, there shouldn't be a purpose to play a whole regame if both teams could agree. Because you're telling me, CIFA, if both teams agree on the 3 and 5, why can't the both teams agree on the fucking score in the 15 minutes in, 16 minutes in, saying, hey, like, let's agree to that. Well, that's fine. It's only fair. It was 15. Why? Because both coaches, both teams understand the sport, how the fuck it's played. Because if you're telling me 15 minutes in, usually teams score around that time, 15 to 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
That's usually how a competitive game goes. And if they both can agree on that, that should be a rule that's implemented. It's like, you know what? If these coaches agreed on what the weather's going on and agree on the score and the time, then we can start it over on that. Now, again, you need to give CIF, I need to understand and hopefully find your rule book and actually do some deep diving that I don't want to do. Yeah. Because I'm sure there's a fucking list in a book that has all these things in there. But at the same time, I'm only ranting and saying it because it looked very unfair, not just for their team, but to the other teams. And again, I'm not taking away any credit from the opposing team that he played against. They did their due diligence in the second game, but they were given a second chance.
Yeah.
Meaning, how do you get a second chance from a first game when it's not always like that due to weather? But again, 2 coaches agree on, like, yeah, why not restart at 15 minutes in and it's 1-0? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Oh, because someone says, no, we can't do that. We don't like that. And we want to put this rule in, just start over. You know what I mean? The game could have been a different outcome. I think it would have been a different outcome if it was 1-0 at the start. I'm sure they're going to play a different way and they're behind 1-0. Again, it is what it is. But looking at all of it, looking back at it, I was just very upset. I even tweeted at CIF for a few times. I'm sure someone's seen it. If they don't, it is what it is. I just think rules got to be updated and rules got to be examined in different sports. You know,
yeah.
because at this point in time, again, the way the culture is and the way the evolving of just sports in high school, the up and downs from club taking over to high school, slowly bouncing back in some sense, and people like want, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that you guys got to give a shit. Like, you have to care if you care about kids and being fair enough and like this and that. Yeah, I know life's not fair. I know when you go into real life, the shit's worse than this. I get it. But I think when we can teach our players and the kids in the school, it's like, hey, like, you're telling me I can do everything great, but you're telling me this one rule is literally going to set me back. It's pretty much saying, like, we didn't even need to play today. Like, we didn't need to play this 15 minutes in if this was going to happen. Now, obviously, most people didn't know it was going to be that bad. But it really affected a lot of teams around the area, even from the Inland Empire. It hailed. It was like they were going into it. It's like, hey, we didn't know, but I don't think this rule is fair enough. Now, mind you, if it was 0-0, I'm still thinking that these coaches would agree and be like, yeah, we're 15 minutes in. Or even saying like, okay, if you want to start it over, I think you should let the coaches have a little bit more of the power to decide how this game should be played as opposed to a one-way rule. Because that one-way rule has affected a lot of players, affected a lot of coaches, affected about time and schedule. I think if the coaches understand the game more than you guys do that make the rules, I think you should implement that option.
Yeah.
Meaning like, hey, here's an option. You guys can either start over, or if you and the coach, again, like you said, on time and dates from 3 to 5, you should let them have an understanding of like, hey, you guys want to go the 15 mark or it's 1-0. Like, I understand if it was 2 minutes in and it was 0-0, or maybe 2 minutes in and 1-0. I think a goal is what I'm not saying justify the game, but a goal in is what gives them the momentum of a team that put the effort in to get to that goal.
Yeah.
And for someone to take it away as a rule is really unfairly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I can rant all day for this, but the way I want to end this is and if you want to speak on it next, but it's, again, I personally think there need to be better people surrounded by certain sports in high school. Obviously, that's not going to happen overnight. Looking throughout the years after high school, from being around my brother and his high school soccer team, there's been other unfairly rules. And again, at the same time, I can't fault just one side. If we need to really deep dive and look at every single rule, then we're gonna have to do that and even call even more shit out, from like horrible refs to bad calls on the field to this and that, because we can't just like let these things like slide. I mean, again, it is what it is, but when it comes to high school rules and high school sports, especially in soccer, I personally think it's just one of those things that it's more of like an imaginary line. Because we've seen things where like, oh, you can do that? Oh, I didn't know you can do that, and it got away with it.
Yeah.
Because there was an imaginary line that no one really gave a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
I'm talking about hearing.
I got my opinions on it too.
You know, I'm hearing stories over here that from other coaches that this player at my high school went to go play at that high school for one game.
Yeah.
But no one wants to check those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like one of those things like, okay, like that happened under your guys' watch.
Yeah.
But these rules are more implemented when it's convenient and you're being called upon it.
Yeah.
So if anything, we have to get you guys accountable for the horrible refs, those unruly calls and time differences, and why this and why that, to a sport that is growing and has been growing over another sport that has dominated in time and revenue and whatnot, just because that's the sport to go to and it's 1 week at a time, as opposed to 2 weeks of a sport that you guys can play on the weekend. Well, if that's the case, then we'll let us fucking put our own schedule together.
Yeah.
Like, if that's the case, let us put our own schedule together. Let's figure this out. Let's find times, and because there's even my personal opinion, like there should be in soccer and most sports in high school should be after 5. Why? Because parents want to see their kids.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be 3 o'clock games anymore.
No.
At all. I think that should be abolished. I think that should never happen again. I think the parents that want to see at least some of their kids' games should be at least after 5. If you're telling me football's at 7, and most of the families there, because that's what you guys want to see is the fans in there, and people pay tickets and pay whatever to help that that program out, it's possible and it can happen now because everything that's happened since COVID to now that you guys adjusted, you guys moved times, you guys did this, and the rules that we're finding out as we go. It's a matter of time of like, again, it also has to be more people and hopefully they listen, other coaches, other schools can agree to this and say, you know what, we have to find a solution for everyone to be able to be compromising on these things because, yeah, I think of parents again. Maybe there was a parent the day of the Tuesday game was like, oh shit, I can't come tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I was able to come today, but I have to go work. Mm-hmm. And again, if they can't come and they're like, that was a day, and it's like work's like, wait, why are you living? You know what I mean? Like they don't give a shit.
Oh, yeah,
of course, the AF's not going to give a shit.
Yeah.
So I think we can improve this. I think it's not going to happen overnight, but in my opinion, it just opened up my eyes even more to have more of a conversation. And this is why I wanted to say what I wanted to say. Hopefully the people that watch this can understand where I'm coming from. I'm sure you're feeling heartbroken again. The parents of his team were like, this was pretty unfair. Yes, again, I give all credit for the other team doing their part in the second game, but I don't want to have to say there's a second game.
Yeah.
This is not Champions League unless you guys want to have a second game.
Yeah, no. There's, like I said, there's a lot of things just from this going on and seeing what happened with everyone else outside and around it. And just by experience through club and other things, as opposed to this is the issue we have in U.S. soccer. Because we play in a sport that literally there are two different rules in one area and opposed to the other area. And that's the issue we run into. Is that there's rules for high school that do not apply for club and at the higher level. And there's rules at the higher level that don't apply for high school. So we get a lot of kids that come in high school that play high level club and they play that style. And when they come and play and they do that in the high school game, they get called fouls on or they get called against them this or whatever. And they're just like, what? Like, I'm confused. And at times I get confused as well because I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot. It's high school. You can't do that here. But in club, you can do all that. And it's like the whole weather thing, same thing. Been to Texas where it's like 50 mile per hour winds. The ball can't even leave the box when you kick it, and they still play through that. And you have to play through that, regardless of the weather over there. But over here, it's like, oh, it's 10 mile per hour winds. We have to cancel the game. It's like, wait a minute. The ball can't even leave half the field when you kick it over there. But over here, just because it's barely windy, you have to stop the game completely.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't make sense. So, in order for this sport on both aspects, for it to be successful, the rules have to apply in everything, in both sides, because that's just how the game is played. And that's how the kids are going to get better and how the kids are going to learn and things like that. And because now you're just taking away the whole ideology, the idea of the game and the sport, because one rule's here and one rule's over there, and it's like they're two completely different. Then people lose interest of wanting to do this altogether, which has been the big conversation throughout all the professionals in terms of U.S. soccer, is that they say don't even play high school soccer because it's a waste of time.
Right.
And in the sense, I'm not saying that it is, but it's like I understand why they think that because of situations like this.
Right.
Where it's like, okay, over here we can get away with all this stuff, but over here you have to go through all these parameters and guidelines and this and that just to play the game.
And some of the games are playing on the same field.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yes.
This is random, but this kind of reminds me of like when I was younger and going into clubs.
Yeah.
It's like you can't wear a hat. I've been in the side of this restaurant before in a hat.
Yeah.
Like, what are you telling me right now? It's just a power grab. It's what you want.
Yeah.
It's what the people want. It's what the owners want. I get it. But what I'm saying also is to what he said is the people, and especially the kids that lose interest, that's starting to know that. It's like, why do I have to play this type of rules when I can do it over here?
Yeah.
And get a better opportunity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, going off the rules, I understand slightly different. Like, for example, college basketball has 2 halves.
Yeah.
They don't have quarters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And in college football, you have to put 1 foot in to score a touchdown. Like, I get those type of rules.
Yeah.
But I think we're speaking on more of a collective rule that involves the whole game.
Yeah.
Not just players individually.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like again, if you're like, oh, if you can't wear jewelry, you can't, like you have to, like, I get those rules.
Yeah.
You know, but in possibly in like club games, they're like they don't say too much about that.
Yeah.
Individual stuff. But as a group and as a whole game, I think these rules need to be overlooked. And I hope someone from CIF sees this and takes it in consideration somehow.
Yeah.
To get players at least to come and compete and to enjoy, because the difference is that I noticed from the last game that you played, the last league game, to a club game that's supposed to be intensive and 250 teams, it's that there's an actual crowd at the high school.
Yeah.
There's literally an actual crowd, and you get that environment, the atmosphere at your home turf. To have those exciting games of the and then the celebration, as opposed to, I'm not saying club doesn't have it a lot, but the clubs that I've been to, when there is a game like that, it's literally just the parents that are there watching.
It's family oriented.
It's more family oriented because in high school, at least your friends get to come and walk by and be like, oh, the homie's playing, like we're into it. So like you get some type of fan base crowded in there. You know, because those kids are not going to go watch your club game.
Yeah.
Those kids are not going to be like, hey, I'm going to go, like, let's go all Tuesday. What the fuck are we going to a club game for? Like, why would you drive over there?
Yeah.
Let's wait for him to play a high school game.
Yeah.
So let's, like, what I'm saying, if you guys want to look into this, look into details of why somewhat high school is still valuable to these kids that don't get a chance to play club. You know what I mean? They don't get the same experience as a club to high school. High school is the only route that they can play, and for them to be taking putting all that effort in and time and energy to have a silly rule really that says, hey, sorry, if you didn't know, you got to start the game over.
Yeah.
Again, I need to know the major benefits in that to at least come from your guys' view, CIF, to understand exactly why you guys chose that route. Because I'm still mind boggled on what that could be. I'm still trying to like put into place why that is. You know? Yeah. So all I can say is that I think it's unruly, it's unfair, it's fucking total bullshit. But hey, it was what it is. I'm not anywhere near what CIF has to do and what they want to do. But again, I don't want to discredit the opposing team that played against you. They figured out how to win the second game because it was a second game. Yeah. But so be it. I mean, it is what it is at this point, but I think there was just a conversation or something needs to be said because I'm sure a lot of teams, like I said, it wasn't just them. I saw a few teams that posted like, hey, we were winning, and it is what it is. Yeah. So, I mean, that's all I have to say against that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just viewed it more as because I've been, since I'm in both realms, like I said, it just takes away from the sport. Yeah. In terms of how they do things on one end and then they do things on the other end. And it's like, and it's crazy because even the refs get confused. The refs even like, man. I've had refs. I know multiple refs for the countless years that I've been doing this now. And I run into them in club and I run into them in high school. And even when I go off on a ref at times about a certain thing, he'll come back and he goes, you can do that in club. You can't do that here. And he goes, and he tells me this and it's like, he goes, trust me. He goes, I've run into this all the time. He goes, I get confused myself sometimes. He goes, I have to go look back at the high school rules sometimes too because I'm always doing club. And then when I come to this, it's something completely different. He goes, so I've mixed the two at times as well. I was like, no, I get it. I was like, I mean, look, I'm not necessarily going off on you because you're not doing your job. I'm kind of going off because I'm in the realm of club where it's like, this is the way the ruling is, or this is how it goes. When I get here, it's like, I forget. I was like, you just kind of reminded me. So now I'm aware of it again and we move on. Yeah, but it shouldn't be that way, right? In the sense, it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, because it's not. This sport is not too difficult to maintain.
Yeah, yeah,
and adjust when it's like.
No, it's not.
Like again, when playing like Pop Warner in high school football, I mean, slightly different. Again, it's because it's family oriented. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna write a letter. I'm gonna write a letter. Where's that from?
White Chicks?
Yeah. I'm going to write a letter.
I'll write a letter.
No, we don't do that. That's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, got to let it out. It is what it is. So if anyone CIF, you guys want to come on and talk, we'd be gladly to talk about it. That's what our podcast for, to understand this information that we don't really have directly. Even if you said, "Hey, here's the link," that's fine. But sometimes it's more better if we speak on it and people are able to watch the podcast, as opposed to people like, "Oh, is that even if it sounds that easy, some people don't even want to look it all up."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to really speak on it, hopefully I can reach out to some of TF, and if we one day have the conversation again, it's better for us to be informed and have a dialogue and understand our perspectives from your side and our side. Again, I still don't know the actual key understanding of what it means to start over when the weather is like that. But I can go in circles for days and keep saying the same thing until I get someone to actually talk to me about it that's from CIF.
Yeah.
But till then, it is what it is. We can only do so much. I feel like the past 3 years or 4 or 5 years, you've been to CIF 3 times.
I believe 3 times.
2 this season and last season was right.
Yeah.
And I feel like,
and 2 times I've been robbed by CIF.
So that's what I'm saying. I think I feel this one and last season.
This one, no. This one and the year that we were ranked 1 and they took us out.
That's another thing. Again, I don't know, because at this point there's some. Again, let me keep going now. There's some leagues that have teams that win 1 game and go into the wild card.
Yeah.
So again, we have to have an explanation of what the difference is of why this school and why this geographical area can't get in when they're ranked 1, but they lose a game at the end and completely get off of playoffs. Not even a wild card. It makes no sense why you even rank us. There's times where I look at the rankings like, why are you even ranking this team at all? It makes no sense. Again, it's either you guys are leaving it to an algorithm that Max Preps has, or you guys are just like, this is what I see, I'll do it real quick, and you guys more focused on football, wrestling, like other sports. Again, I don't know. And hopefully,
because as far as I know, I mean, I don't know if any other sports go through stuff like this.
Like, we don't know.
I don't know if baseball, basketball,
they might have.
Wrestling.
Again,
I don't know.
It's a possibility.
I don't know if any of the situations that I've been through now through the years that I've been here, or if other teams have gone through this. Because even if I look, I mean, the thing with high school too is that there's very, very few coaches that I've come across that have been there 5+ years. There's a lot of coaches that I've seen that are there 2, 3, and then they go move on somewhere else, or they just stop completely.
Yeah.
So it's like these situations that come up, for the coaches that have been there, X amount of years, they try to say something, but it's very few of us. Whereas there's others that may have gone through it that 1 year, and they're like, I don't want to do this next year, and they just go, they move on and they go about it, and then the conversation never comes up. Yeah. Because again, I don't know if this ever happened to anybody else throughout the years when I've been there, or from other schools, because it could have happened to another school, and that coach could have been his first year that happened. He goes, "No, what? I don't want to do this." And then next year, it's a brand new coach, brand new whatever system that guy brings, and that whole situation that happened is completely lost,
Right.
because it's never brought up again. So, like I said, I don't know if this happens around anywhere else, but I think if it happened more often than not, then I think obviously the conversation would be brought up, or the discussion of certain things like this would be brought up, because the coaches that I'm in with in this league, we just kind of brought up one thing, and I've even expressed it, but like it kind of just gets overlooked when I've expressed it, where it's like the voting in terms of MVP, first team, second team. So one guy, the coach came in, he goes, "Oh, my defensive MVP," and they're like, "Oh no, we only do one MVP here." And at first I was like, well, I've been here forever. I was like, yeah, we've never done an offensive or defensive, but I was like, I brought up that conversation one time, and some of their coaches were like, well, we don't really pay attention to this, and we don't really take stats on it. It's like, well, why not? Like, why don't we do that? But then again, it's like the coach that's there at the time doesn't want to do it, and then the next coach comes in that wants to do it, and then another coach doesn't want to do it, and then another coach does want to do it. It's like, it's just kind of like an unbalanced system in the sense of who comes in and wants to do these things. So that coach came in and brought that to the discussion, and I was like, yeah, man, like I've been in this league for like 9 years, dude. I've brought it up many times, and it's always somebody different that's in charge of the league that just like doesn't want to do it. They just don't want to take the time to do it. And And luckily we had somebody new this year, and he goes, does everyone agree on that? I was like, and he goes, we can put it up for a discussion, and then we'll see if the athletic directors all agree upon it. So we're just like, why wouldn't they? It's like, we're probably one of the only sports in the terms of having that are in the terms of offensive and defensive, type of game that doesn't have that. I think football has that. I believe basketball has it. I'm trying to think what other sport has an offensive and a defensive type of. Baseball doesn't do that really. So I think, apart from those other sports, it's like, yeah, why don't we have that? And then the other ruling that the one that got me the most mad, and I still keep fighting for, is I don't understand why the MVP cannot be on the first team. And they're like, well, it's like kind of double dipping a chip. It's like, no, it's not. It's not double dipping a chip, because your MVP is like this dip, and the first team is this dip.
Exactly.
So you're not double dipping. You're dipping in that one. Okay, you got it. Now you're dipping in this one. That's it. So it's mind-boggling on a lot of these things, and I've expressed it, but they're like, there's coaches, but again, it goes back to that. There's coaches that are like, well, we can't do that because it leaves out something. What message are we trying to create here for the kids? Like, that's the thing that I've gotten across with this whole, not just this season, but in years past. It's like, well, it's for the kids. It's kids. I was like, I get it, but it's like, we're not like, I've come into the mindset to create this program as a program of competitiveness, not a program of, hey, everybody gets to have fun and everybody gets to play and everyone will get a chance. No, if you can't make it, you're not going to get on here. You got to work for it.
Exactly.
And it's like, what message are we sending them if it's like, oh, it's okay, you're going to get it. You're going to get through this. And I'm truly grateful and thankful for the opportunity that I've been given here at the school to be able to bring that mindset to these kids. And I don't know, again, if they have or haven't, or if they did or they didn't, took that mindset in the rest of their lives as they've grown up. So if they have, it's great. I mean, I've instilled something in them. I mean, I don't want to take full credit to whatever it is that they do in their life, but they've at least had something instilled in their mind to say, I got to work for this.
Yes.
Regardless of what it is, I got to work for it. I got to work hard for it. I got to earn it. Mm-hmm. Because wherever I was at, that's what I had to do there. So I'm bringing what I've learned there here. And that's for me, what I believe a coach and teaching or whatever is the purpose for these kids sometimes. That's why I was telling you, like, the sport is the sport. It's always going to be there. But if you could evolve more than the sport, that for me is worth more than anything else. Because then you get, like I said, you get kids that go on and do these great things outside of that realm of soccer, but they've taken all these characteristics and all these things that they've learned throughout their careers there on top of the sport, on top of the school, and they implement it into their real life, and it takes them even further than what they probably could have imagined.
Yeah, or even going to the next level if that's what they want to take. Because even the next level is even harder.
Yeah.
It's even worse. It's even more deep of like, oh shit, this is reality. I thought I was good in high school. I thought I was able to just cruise in.
Yeah.
Fuck no. Like, these guys are going to tell you you're not the best anymore. Once you hit this level, everyone's good. Once you hit the next level with collegiate, everyone's good.
Yeah.
That's why there's those type of levels. We understand there's levels. But if you're putting these things implemented, so many kids are going to lose interest of saying, hey, we think that's what it is. And
that's the thing I tell these kids when they go and decide to say, when I tell them, like, if you want to go play college, and then some of these kids raise their hands and say, yeah, I want to play college. I'm like, well, we'll tell you right now, you're not going to make it because of the way you play and your attitude and a lot of things that you do. Why? Because I coached there. I've coached in college. I've seen the kid that came out as an MVP of his league or then all this and that, and he can barely even keep up with some of the guys that have been playing club and all this and that throughout their entire careers. Right. That got there, and they're wondering, well, why did this? It's like, that's great, you did all that, but it's like, you got to do that here. Like, if you can't do that here, it's just not going to work.
Exactly.
In order for you to do that, you got to work twice as hard. You got to earn it more. You got to do this. You got to do that. So I always have told all these kids, I said, look, you did all this, it's great, but now you got to go do it at this level where everyone around you is not only at the level you are, or if anything, 10 times better than the level that you are. And if you're not able to keep up with that, yeah, you're going to get left behind, and then you're not going to be able to do this anymore. So that's why I say is that I build these characteristics for them to not give them the false sense of hope to believe that they're going to make it there from what they've been doing. Right. Then we try to make them believe, like, okay, look, if you can't make it like this, you have to do this in order to make it. So you have to find other ways. And that's kind of what I've always been implementing throughout the times that I've been there. And I've been fortunate enough to hear the great stories of these kids that that have left and done. They didn't continue with soccer, but they've continued on something else and they pursued that career and they've become more
right. They
more
work
successful.
towards it.
Yeah, they work towards
it, and they earn what they've done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And even speaking on the next level, I even have even more on the next level of community college, especially.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to keep talking to high school, is that what the main thing you wanted to say? Because again, the whole
I mean that's kind of it.
I didn't know you were gonna bring up the whole the own your own league that had to decide things because that is key. That was key for me to understand because when you bring it up, it doesn't make too much sense why this and why that. I think whoever needs to speak on it or whoever can have a conversation with us about it.
Yeah.
Again, we can't change things overnight unless there's an understanding of everyone else understanding the conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I mean, to actually be fair is these kids should earn those things for the hard work that they put in. And if they don't put the hard work, they shouldn't be able to be like, hey, let's just give them this because it's that's what we agree. No, let's actually, if that's how these people are thinking, then let's actually do the homework, right? Yeah. In my sense of hopefully, I don't know. I mean, this is just a fantasy now in my head. If there's a conversation that can speak to that whole group and be like, hey, how about you guys just agree on fucking taking stats then?
Yeah.
How about before the season starts, we all sit down like we just did right now, and if you don't come, that's on you. Your team is not going to get stats.
Yeah.
So why the fuck would we pick players that you say should be up here just because you said it? Do we even know they earned it?
Yeah.
All we can do is go by stats in the games that we watch, right? Because there's times where coaches weren't able to be there this past season because of COVID.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to watch this kid, but you're telling me he did that. I didn't even see him. I didn't get to play him.
Yeah.
Or times where the kid was hurt or had COVID. He didn't get to play both games against us. How do we do that? Well, by the stats. If you at least have enough stats and go off certain things, I think things would be better. But I think it has to be implemented as a.
So just real quick, I go off of that in the sense of the stats because it does make a difference in the terms of that because it's I've had it in the past where I've had players that got voted for MVP whatever, and the guy's bringing he scored against this team, scored against this. It's yeah, but he didn't do it against us. I'm not gonna vote for him. The other guy that did good is this guy. When he played against us, this guy was really good against us, but he might not have been good against any of you guys. So my vote would go to him because it's he did do good against us. Your guy didn't do anything. But if you're telling me he scored all this, okay, then I'll go. I'll vote for him because it's because in the sense it's okay, maybe he just had a bad game with us.
Right.
That's all it is.
Exactly.
That's all it is. He had a bad game with us, but you're telling me he scored this many goals against you. He scored this many against you. This many, but just with us, he just had a bad game. Okay.
Yeah,
but I won't discredit that kid because like I said in the past when I first started there, nobody was really taking stats. I kind of went off that basis when it's well, you're not giving me any stat. You're telling me he did good against everybody else, but against me, he just didn't do anything. Right. It's I don't know what you're. I don't know if this kid is really as good as you're saying.
It's your word against mine.
Yeah, it's
there's no actual factual paper of stats saying that. Hey, that kind of adds up.
Yeah,
if it doesn't add up.
If it did, like I said, if those stats and was all there, it's okay. Then something happened, obviously against us. Maybe we just played him really good. And he just had an off day. It happens. I'm not gonna discredit the kid, from it. But it's if you're just telling me he did good there, did good here, and it's as far as I know, So,
but yeah. With that being said, I just want again, I understand that there's different type of coaches. Like you said, they come and go. You've been there for the longest. Let me ask you: have you been there out of right now? I've seen all those coaches. Do you know you've been there the longest?
I'm trying to think.
Out of the league that you're in high school, I want to say maybe no.
In the league, as far as the league goes, yes, because.
All those coaches
Three
that you
other
play,
schools were not in our league.
So they gone.
One, I think, has been at his school as long as I've been at my school.
Leagues.
Just different leagues.
Okay.
But as far as the league goes, I would like to say, yes, I'm probably the only one that's been there the longest.
Even then, I was thinking the other day, I understand we have the players, they get their awards. So, but there's a newspaper or a news thing now. They get coaches of the year, right? Like in football.
Oh, that's a joke.
Right?
That thing's a joke.
So then I'm thinking okay, why don't we have that? But I was gonna say well, if you get to choose, why doesn't the best coach get in the league, the coach of the year for that league?
Yeah. No, I feel like a lot of this stuff, it's it just has to come upon the
group of
the group of the just the
coaches
group
of
of
the
the
league.
coaches. Yeah, that's it.
So what I was getting at is like, I guess we just have to. What I'm trying to say is like, we have to. If we're holding certain things accountable for students and student athletes to be there and participate and put in effort to be on your team on varsity, because back then when we played, varsity was a thing.
Yeah,
it's like, oh shit, you're on varsity. Like in high school, it felt for me like that's where you need to be.
Yeah.
To be top, like to be top.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it doesn't feel that way now, but I don't know. I haven't asked these kids, but what I'm saying is like, if that's still the thing to be on varsity, and that's what matters, because real quick, I don't know if I said in the last podcast, you know, someone asked me like, hey, why don't you post about JV? Because I have that mindset. It's like nothing wrong with the JV. It's not that I don't care. It's that you have to earn to be up here in varsity. So I took that mindset and told the person, I was like, hey, like, it's JV. Like people get on JV because they need to work and improve to be on a varsity team. That's a level that you have to be if you want to be looked at.
Yeah.
And that's how I took the Instagram, the mindset. You want to be looked at, you want to be shown, you want to be talked about, you have to be on varsity. Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying with these type of votes and these coaches. Like I would like hopefully be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you guys are having these meetings, and how long is this meeting? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Like that's even horrible. Like that's the thing. It's like, again, what I'm trying to say, there's probably some, hold on. There's probably some that are teachers that, you know, like it's their first time. They're like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't even know a lot. Like, or coaches like don't give a shit. Like I'm just getting a check. Again, we go back to what we said about the difference from high school and the difference from club. To improve these things and make these kids understand to really care about the sport like you guys do in football that I've seen and gone through and experienced, like having a tribune saying like, oh, the all-league area or the coach of the year, the defensive player of the year. Like that's cool. That makes a kid feel understanding. Like I put in hard work as opposed to this group sitting there and be like, these are the guys. Just if you guys want to vote, and then you have someone like you like, wait, well, let's actually dissect this. Let's actually like be held accountable what the fuck you've done this whole season. Even if you had a horrible season, even though there's teams that we have in our league that like never won a game and barely put up 8 goals the whole season. Yeah. But again, there was some type of effort to get those 8 goals. Yeah. And there's some of those kids, I know for a fact, I think one of the kids that I feel that when I watch you guys play is the Covina goalie. I think he puts in some effort. I think he's a legit goalie that I think should be on a better school. Yeah. When I first saw him play, he was really good, and I was like, okay, but I feel like there's players like that where I was like, well, fuck, I'm just stuck here. Yeah. I'm stuck at this high school. This is where I live. Like this is what I have to use to play soccer and enjoy. But the rest of them is like not thinking like him. Is like, no, I really want. Like coach is probably like, dude, we're losing this year. I'm just here to pick up my check. Yeah. Like I know soccer, but I'm at a club coach anyways. I'm just doing this to get the extra check. Yeah. Like there's people like that. Yeah. And I understand no one like cares at a certain level from the staff of like, hey, do you really care? But no, just watch the fucking kids and play them. Like if you, because what's funny to me, and it's always happens. It's always gonna happen. It's like, holy shit, they're winning. Hey, hit up the whole staff. Let's go watch them. Oh, all of a sudden you guys want to fucking watch us? Yeah. Like you guys don't give a shit for money. The other program's getting money, and then we have to do this. But all of a sudden when we win, you guys give a shit. Yeah. And I've seen that plenty of times since I left high school, and even also in some other sports in the college level. But that's what I'm trying to let these people understand, and hopefully it's viewers, the culture. It's like this is the culture that just
because like going off of that real quick, it's the culture that they bring here. It's like. And it is really upsetting because that in the professional realm, I want to say I've seen it here. I don't know how I don't know if it's like that out there, but I feel like it might be too. But it's not as known or as obvious. It's like here. Like I have to use them as an example. When the Clippers were playing here, they gave away tickets to go watch their games. They gave away tickets. Then the moment they brought in all these superstars, tickets went up the roof. Like it went insane. Which I understand it at some point, but then again, it's like then the running joke came out of nowhere. It's like, you're a Clipper fan? Yeah. Where do those Clippers fans come from? Where have you been? Where have you guys been? But yes, there are those diehard fans that have been there since day one, and
Mike,
it's like
Mike Wazowski.
which is fine. I can't.
What's his real name?
What is his name?
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
Or even
about.
Frankie Muniz.
Oh yeah. So it's like, which is fine. There are those diehard fans that would pay, you know, top dollar for whatever to constantly be there. And the crazy thing that to me that I've seen it, like, I don't want to take away too much. It's like that same seat for the Clipper game was $10.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next day, the Laker game, it's like
$110.
$1,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, why? I get it. This team maybe not, but it's still a professional team in the sense where people are going to show up. They want to see their team. They want to go and watch. I bring that same aspect over here. It's like people want to see their kids. They want to do this. They want to do that. Yeah, but it's like when they don't really care, there's people that do.
Yeah.
And it's like those people that do get overshadowed by the people that all of a sudden want to show up and be part of it.
Right.
And it's like, well, wait a minute. You guys have been here this entire time. You're not that far to come and see this. You know, like you can take 10 minutes out of your
We're
goddamn
all at
day.
the same high school.
Yeah, you could take 10 minutes out of your day to come and, you know, view these things. And it's like, I get it. If you choose that, then you choose that. But there are those people that care well enough to want to constantly be there and try to be there and see it. And we've had some support like that, which is great. I'm like, you know, it's fine. But in order for it to be, I don't want to say glorified, I don't want to use that word too much, but in order for this culture to change, it's like the mindset of those around us have to be changed as well.
Yeah.
You know, like I go back until like this whole voting thing sometimes. It's like, we used to do it where you'd actually have to put numbers on the player. Like you gave them a rating.
I
You
remember
gave
you
them a
showed
score.
me that. That was years ago,
And
right?
that was like way
Like
in
half
the
of
early
this,
years.
half of the, like 5 years ago.
Yeah, like
maybe,
way back. And they changed it to the point now it's like, okay, it was still done by the wins and losses, whatever you got in league, and you get a certain amount of nominations, whatever. Now it's to the point where it's like, yeah, you still, how many wins you get, you automatically get, you know, this many nominations, or, you know, regardless of whatever your record is, you're automatically given these many nominations. But, you know, now the top teams, the first two teams, they can put this many players in and so on, and so it trickles down, and then it kind of like flips as you go down. So it's like, okay, that's cool, but it's like, wait a minute, hold on. I got my best players, but I don't know if this guy was actually better than this guy in that position. I've always liked it the way, I mean, the FIFA's now kind of made it weird where they put like 4 forwards for some fucking reason this last couple ones.
Yeah.
I've always liked it when they did it kind of based off positions. You know, the best keeper is this guy, and then the best right defender is this guy, the best left. You know, it gives it more of a purpose.
So I guess, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but if the person that runs it is the one that needs to implement it then, huh?
Yeah. But again, but it comes along with the culture with everyone around us, where it's like I said, there's going to be 1 or 2 that care enough to really want to do that.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be 3 or 4 that are like,
well, here's the thing. Here's the
whatever.
thing. Here's what I think. If that's implemented, I think it goes off of the person that runs the group. What kind of person is that? It's like who
athletic director
from another high school?
Yeah, just from that school. They make him the head organizer of the league.
So you don't know who like appoints them? Does it CIF or you don't know?
I honestly don't. I honestly, in all honesty, I think everyone's asked and they're just like, who wants to do it? And someone's like,
have you ever asked you?
No. The athletic directors has to be athletic directors.
Oh, so they probably asked yours.
Yes, and I'm sure he's like, I don't want to do it because it's like.
Sorry, it has to be an athletic.
I believe it has to be an athletic in order to run the league, to organize the league. Yes, I believe
so
it's
it has
an
to be
athletic
somewhere.
director.
Anyways,
because you got to remember, it's not just one sport. It's literally every sport.
Got it.
You know, it's all the sports from football, baseball, swimming. If they have golf at their school, like everything.
But you said everyone's in every sport in that room. Is that what you're saying? You have a table of soccer. You have a table.
Yeah. So you have
the winter sport.
Yeah, the winter sports. Yeah.
So you're telling me that DA that's appointed is
all the winter
organizing
sports.
them.
All the winter
so he's like, all right, I'm gonna get to you guys first. Get you guys 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to. I never knew.
Yeah,
so, okay.
That's how it is.
So okay. So yeah. Then it gets. I guess it's tough because you're thinking of like what kind of DA is this? What sport he's really into? Oh, he's coming from a wrestling background. He's coming from a baseball background.
Yeah.
And he's gonna probably be like, oh fuck soccer. He's like, all right guys, all right, you got it, okay. And then 5 more minutes into like another sport.
Yeah.
You know? So it's tough. It's one of those.
No, it
things.
is because
it's just one of those things like.
Yeah, I don't like kind of discredit them or anything. They have a lot on their plate because you got to remember they're dealing with all sports. So like even with this, I'm like, well, we should appoint somebody below, not necessarily above them or below them in the sense, but somebody to at least organize this league in the sense to say this is how we want our league to be ran, or this is how we want our league
Like
to
a
be
supervisor. Like, hey,
Yeah,
I'm taking care of the whole group. Each one should have like the head
Yeah.
of the league at least.
Yeah.
That's in the sport
Because
idea.
I think, even if it's boy, girls, whatever, I still feel like these leagues, I don't want to say can be better, but like they can make it their own in the sense where it's like well enough for the kids to be like, man, I want to be part of that.
Yeah.
You know, because even with this whole first team, second team, like this whole thing that we did with the voting, it was like, it gotten to the point for me now. It's like I know your best player, great. I mean, if he makes first team, he makes first team. That's your choice if you want to put him on first team, because it's not even my choice anymore. It's not my choice if he gets to be on first team anymore. Like, there's kids that they like. For me, because I've been in this so long, I've not put them in there because it's like, did you really deserve it with the way you've been all year?
Right.
You're good, yes, you're great, but I look at the aspect more of like your grades, your attitude, all this and that. Like, I don't want to reward you for something because this is how you are.
Yeah.
You know, because again, I want to build these kids' characters. You know, if I'm rewarding this kid and saying, you know, he's been late to practice, he half-asses practice, but in games he's amazing, he's scoring goals in this. It's like, wait a minute, let's implement this into real life.
Yeah.
You're late to work, you don't really do the work, but when it comes to turning the deadlines into do stuff, yeah, you did it. You know,
I have a different opinion on that, but I get where you're coming from.
But that's I know, but like that's kind of where I have to implement it for them, because it's like I'm rewarding them for being late to work. In reality, it's like if you're really late to work, what's gonna happen? Someone's gonna, not me necessarily, but I'm just saying in the realm of what they're gonna go into.
Again,
so I'll put it this way:
I have a different opinion.
I know you have a different opinion, but watch.
Go ahead.
Let's look at it this way: this kid's gonna go to college.
Yeah.
They're gonna go to a class where this teacher says if you're late once, that counts as an absence.
Right.
But if I allowed this kid to be late throughout his time in, you know, being at training, and then he goes, oh, it's okay, I'm used to being late, they'll let me slide.
Yeah.
But then that one time comes up and they do it, now they're screwed.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You know, it's no fault to the kid, or I mean,
No, it's no fault to you,
it's no fault to me, or no
because
fault
you
to the
implemented the rules.
Yeah, but there's no fault to that teacher because that's their rules. But it's like the kid now, we rewarded this kid in the sense
So
to,
much
to be like, it's okay,
get
you can
away.
do that, you can get away with it, it's okay. So that's what I'm trying to say. Is like when it comes to some of these things, it's
Yeah.
like,
No, I get it now.
I don't know whatever kid they're putting in, you know, yeah, he's good or whatever, but it's like, did this kid truly deserve it in the sense for him to be like, yeah, this kid should have been this, it should have
Yeah,
been that.
no, I
You
get
know,
it.
Which again, that's nothing against, you know, that's my own opinion on the sense of that, on who they're putting in, because like I said, we're only given an image of what we've seen on the field.
Exactly.
We're not given the image of what they're seeing on the outside. Because I remember there was a year somebody asked me, they're like, hey, why didn't you put this kid on the? I was like, honestly, he's good, but this kid was horrible outside. He didn't do his, he barely did his work. He barely did this. I was like, I'm not gonna reward this kid. Oh, okay. And it's like,
Right.
they kind of understood that. They're like, oh, okay, we get it. We get what you're saying. Like I probably would have done the same too. Like they kind of agreed in the sense, but it's true, you know. And then there's kids that are like, why'd you put this kid? He wasn't that good. I was like, well, he's a good kid. And he shows up. He did it. I mean, he made forth the effort of a lot of things that we were able to accomplish. I was like, so yeah, of course he's really deserving of being at least, you know, second team or whatever, or first team, whatever it is, you know, at least get some acknowledgement for his efforts, type of deal.
True.
To me, it's a lot of the culture stuff.
Yeah,
The
no,
more
again,
and more I get this, and then the more and more I'm doing it, and then, you know, now I've gotten into doing the licensing again and doing all that stuff, and I got my opinions on that too. So I mean, I don't want to get into that right now.
Yeah, no, again, my last thoughts
Sorry.
on the high school stuff. I just think, just for being around you since you started and being a little bit closer and listening and actually seeing certain things and even being in the mix sometimes, getting in trouble. It's really odd, you know, there's people out there that really care about the players and the ideas that actual coaches come in and implement, to be just like, all right, thanks.
Yeah.
You know, because it's high school. You know, again, obviously high school has changed since we've both been there, and even the generation since our oldest brother. Again, like I said, high school then used to be a thing of like you said, there had to be names and records up there where it was holy shit, that's cool. Now it's like, oh, it's on Instagram, I can see it.
Yeah.
Or like, you know what I mean? So it's obviously it's changed. Even the faculty of certain high schools, it's like, our football team's doing everything. So good luck. Here's all we can give you.
Yeah.
Like again, as we were speaking, like you were talking about one of the old coaches that we used to play against was Wilson.
Yeah.
And he told you like, I did so much and they haven't really retaliated. That one coach before the one that you know now, right? You told me last thing you told me was like, oh no, I did everything I could. They don't even give a shit. And like, I'm leaving. Like that's the things that happen. It's like these coaches actually take advantage that are real coaches. Yeah. Take advantage to actually bring a program up to understand, like, hey, this is a possible thing if you guys also meet me halfway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of a lot of it too has to do with the staff that supports it.
Well, again, the culture in the high school that it is in right now is one of those things like, we care enough for this program. You know what I mean? Like but it sucks. Here's the thing. I understand and I get the aspect because this is a perfect example as well. Baldwin Park. He's an amazing coach, in my opinion, who brought something from when he started to now. Yeah. He went from the lowest division to Division 3. Like, do we ever think of anybody that we played that could go all the way to Division 3? Like, I never thought that's possible in some sense, but, like, I gave him enough credit to do that where he has his own key to open the stadium, do the thing. It's like that's their football team. Yeah. Literally, right? Like, that's their football team. Yeah. But, again, the faculty and the understanding of what someone did is rewarded. That's literally rewarded in some way. I don't think it was given to him like that. He took advantage, and then he's like, I want some CAF championships. Like I did all these things. So he again, that's the reward that he got in my opinion. And he was able to, and it's a success from my view. So like all I'm saying, it's really hard to when some of these high schools go back to another high school, San Dimas. They won CAF. They did everything they could, but I'm like, why are you guys still playing at 5?
3.
I mean, sorry, at 3. Why don't you guys play at 5? You have your own stadium.
And
but you guys were able to win CIF, win league for the first time ever, go to state. Like, that's like an unheard of. And like, get that reward. Make that a prestige of like, hey, we can play at night now to get players to come, right? To come out. Yeah. But again, it's the higher ups, it's the type of coaches or the staff that's around that school, of like this and that.
I think it does come down again to the people around you, because it's like, I remember when I played at the high school, I wouldn't say the running joke, but the kind of seriousness was that the athletic director didn't give a shit about soccer, and he didn't care about it. And I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But the guy is still there, and been ever since I came in. I mean, I couldn't have probably the half of the things I have if it wasn't for the support this guy has given for not just us, but for other programs. We butt heads and whatever, but I think anyone's gonna do that. But to what I guess picture that was painted for me about this person was not it when I got there, because it's like there's a lot of things that I can easily be, or someone can easily say, oh, they don't like it, they don't support it. I'm like, nah, that's not true at all. I'm like, some of the things that I've gotten, not I want to say get away with, but things that I thought that weren't possible became possible. Because of the support that we were given. And on top of now, and then there's been people that have come in that fully don't support it, and this person still tries to support it, and tries to at least make it manageable enough to keep me there in the sense. And yeah, sure enough, it's like we don't get to these areas or what we get to do without the support and foundation of what we have in these organizations, I guess you could say. So it comes with the territory in the sense it's like you're going to get good and there's going to be bad. But then if you get the right people and the right mindset around you, of course, it's going to go the way in the sense where you want it to go at some point. Right. Whereas this whole thing, it's like I came in and everyone's like, well, you'll never win a league title here because of that school is in here and that school's in here. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Why would you even think that? Right. Anything is possible, man. Like, if you think like that, then of course you're always going to lose. Right. And sure enough, it took 9 years to finally get a league title. Whereas everybody before me had probably that mindset to think like, we'll never get past even third. We'll never even get close to second. Yeah. I think, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know if anybody before me ever got second place in league, because it was always
I think
before,
it was. I think it was that coach, the Churro.
I
If
don't
you really
remember.
look into
I have
that,
to
well,
look- I
from
have
the
to
max
check.
preps,
I have to check.
it goes all the way to 2008.
Yeah, I had to
That-
check.
And that was your year that you graduated, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't play, right? The
No, I
senior?
didn't play the last year.
So that's where it starts the
Oh, okay.
the
I'll
stats.
check.
But I think as I go through it, that coach that was there from Charter, I think he was able to take him to CIF a couple times.
Yeah, no, I think there was a.
But I think
well,
he
he was
did
only
go-
there like 3 years. I think there's maybe once or twice he's been able to take him.
But I think there was one. I could be wrong. It's just double checking. But yeah.
But no, as far as in the terms, like I said, like if he would have stayed there, he probably I want to say gotten it sooner, but he maybe, because again, it's like he was there sooner than I was, and he would have been there obviously longer.
Mm-hmm.
He probably would have had a chance of getting it before I got there,
Right.
because again, this guy was older, obviously more knowledgeable in the game and whatever. And when I came in, I was way young, like super young.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I came in it now, let's say I came into the way I am now, but maybe like 4 years ago, who knows? Maybe I get it in that second, third year or whatever, you know, or I get it this point where it seems like, oh man, it only took me like 3 years to get it as opposed to 9 years. You know what I mean? So again, it just goes to show, like I said, there's a lot that goes along with it, with the support and everything else around it in order to get to that.
Right.
And I've noticed that with a lot of like sports. So it's like, the thing too is like I follow some of these coaches that were there for a couple years, and I've known them, and I know them like not necessarily on a personal level, but I've known them and continued on to, hey, they went to other schools, how's it going? And they struggle. It's like they were there that 1 year, they did great, they won league, whatever, and then they leave and they go somewhere else, and then they just can't maintain that. And it's like, I understand why, because it's like you have to build an entire like culture, environment, and system in order for it to be continued on after that, because you only get some of these kids for like a couple years, and then they move on, and then you're basically starting almost a whole new team every other year. But if you keep building that culture and that mindset of trying to do this and trying to do that, the kids that are not even there yet will understand what it takes once they get there, and then they start to work for that. So it's like, I'm not saying I would have done this anytime sooner or whatever, but it's like there's a path along with all this, and there's people that come along that path that are gonna guide you in the right direction, or they're gonna challenge you to be able to surpass those challenges and get guided into the right direction. And it happens. Like I've had many players that have challenged me to think that I'm not good enough to coach them and this and that, and I've had players that have just challenged me that saying that they don't even want to waste their time. But it's like, that's fine. Right. You don't have to be part of this. It's like, you want to do this, you do this. If not, there's gonna be somebody else that wants to. And when that group succeeds, then everyone's gonna be like, damn, I should have done this. There's no should haves anymore, man. It's like it's either now or never, which is what I tell all these guys. So
yeah, no, everything you said I get, but I mean, that's my rant and opinions on high school soccer and the way it's run, and whatever we're able to talk about, hopefully can spark another conversation from people from the uppers, from CIF, hopefully one day. I mean, that's what this podcast is for. We want to inform, we want to talk about things that we can talk about, and see if there's any dialogue that could improve things. It might not be major right away, but if there's a slight improvement in something, it's better than nothing, right?
Oh yeah,
in some type of way. Like it's just something that we as soccer fans and as a coach is like, it's a passion that we care for. So hopefully it's run fairly, and so yeah, I mean, that's high school, because I have my whole thoughts on community college as well.
I've been in it, just not enough to really dissect the things that go around it. But if we want to dive into it, I guess the main thing for me, and it's just with anything, it's just that, like, these kids, this is like, for when I think of community college, I think
let me be more specific. In the community college of the Southern California so far.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not speaking for all, but if there's something similar to that, then so be it. But I'm specifically for what we've been around.
Well, yeah, and the only, I don't want to say for all either, but I think it's, I think a lot of people probably can agree with what I'm going to say. It's like, because they've did a whole Netflix documentary on it, and it's basically in the title. It is a second chance for a lot of kids. in my opinion, because there's kids that go through high school, there are kids that go through club, and they don't really get looked at, and they don't get that opportunity to finally go to the university or whatever, things like that. So for me, as the way I see it, it's like, okay, you didn't make it this way, but here's your second chance to try to make it this way, if you can. Now, again, after that, it's like, yeah, it's entirely up to you at that point. There's other avenues, there's other outlets that you can probably pursue in order to get to your end goal, And that's how I tend to view it, because I've been through it where there's kids that have gone to whatever university, this and that. They didn't work out. They come back. They play community college, which, again, I see it as this is your second chance to redeem yourself and go back and do it again, Or for others, it's like, all right, you had a good run through your high school career, through your club career, but you just weren't there enough yet. Now you got these next 2 years or so, whatever, to make the best of it and try to get it back up there, or try to do this, or try to do that. Again, I haven't been in it enough to really dissect it and really say the experience of it, but I've witnessed enough to kind of get a better understanding. And then the other aspect is like, it's for me, because I've known the coaches and who are there, and just in this last couple months, how simple and easy it is just to like outlet yourself, or what is that word? Network yourself. It is possible. Anybody could do it. In my sense, almost anybody can do this. It's just it just comes down to really wanting to do it.
It's effort. It's like how the girls that we have on in the past podcast. Effort.
Yeah, because the frustrating thing, it's like I said, I was so fortunate with who I actually like learned coaching from, and to see the effort this person put in towards the players that he had in order for them to get out, to go to college or get looked at. Like, I was so lucky in that aspect, and I'll always be grateful for that, because I think anybody else, like the ones that I see now, if I ever was like mentored by them, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Right.
If I started at, 19, 18, the way I did, and who I was mentored by. But if I get mentored by any of the coaches I see nowadays, it's like, yeah, I probably wouldn't want to do this for the next, if I start at 19, I'm mentored by this other guy, I probably wouldn't want to do this in the next 3-4 years.
Edgar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I started with. And this guy mentored me in the sense of how to do things and where, what to go through and this and that. And I learned a little from Sharif here and there. And, and Henry and Trevor and a couple other coaches that I know. And seeing what I got to see, it's like, yeah, that's not hard. It's just you really got to take the time to do it and really put forth that effort. Because, again, it's like some of these kids don't really know and these parents don't know. And the other thing, it's like I get some of the culture in the sense of like coaches don't want to talk to parents. Coaches don't want to. But it's like it's not that they don't want to talk to them. It's just sometimes I just feel like they don't want to educate them.
Right.
They don't want to take the time to educate them, because it's like there's one parent that's going to want to ask all the questions. Then there's one parent that could care less. Then there's another parent that's, cares about this, cares about that. But in the end, it's like, and we got to stop doing it individually and start showing them collectively for them to be like, okay, we get it. We understand what you're trying to do. We understand what's going on. But in the end, parents are always going to have their opinions, which is what it is. But the best thing, like I've said this before in the podcast, and actually I'm probably gonna bring it up in my next meeting that I got to do with my teams, is like I don't think I'm any different than a school teacher. I don't think I'm any different than them, because I'm teaching your kids something that they're trying to learn.
Exactly.
And I tell parents, I'm gonna bring this up. Like, do you go to your kid's school?
Yeah.
And sit next to him, and as the teacher is teaching the class, you're telling your kid, no, don't add 2 + 2 like that. Add 2 + 2 like this.
Yeah, who's a teacher here?
And it's like, that's kind of like where I kind of get at with some of these parents, because it's like they go to games, you're trying to teach them a system and how to play and how to do these things and be successful, whatever. And then you get parents that are like just trying to do the complete opposite and teach the kid the complete opposite. And it's like, well, wait a minute, hold on. I'm teaching your kids something. How am I any different than your damn school teacher? Teaching them history or teaching them math or teaching them science. It's like, if you really know the aspect of the game, you'd understand to just not want to say leave us alone, but let us do our thing. I would think a school teacher would understand if their kid went to whatever school, they would, let's say, if they're learning something, I'm sure their kid's gonna come like, hey, I'm having trouble with this. Since do you know this? And I'm sure that if the parent is a school teacher, it's like, yeah, look, you can try it this way. Which it's kind of the same aspect. Even if your kid is like in the sport, it's like, coach is telling me to do this, but I'm having a hard time with it. Can you help me? And the parent's gonna have to go and find resources to say, oh yeah, let's try this. Let's go do this. Let's go over here. What do? They go find a private trainer. What is the same equivalence of a private trainer to school? A tutor. It's the same damn thing. So it's like, well, yeah, I can't teach you 2 + 2. So let me get a tutor to teach you 2 + 2.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And it's the same. I mean, I'm just using that as an analogy, but it's like, it's the same kind of going with soccer. I can't teach you how to play with your left foot. Let me go find a private trainer to help you play with your left foot. Because the coach is because you got to remember too, it's like, even in class, it's like you're learning everything in that aspect.
Yeah, as a group.
But the individual kid, which just comes down to grading scales and all that stuff. There's one kid that obviously excels, has A's. There's a kid that has the B's. And then there's that kid that has the D's, but he's got potential. It's just you really got to slow it down for him. Mm-hmm. Maybe he works better individually than as opposed to a group. Or maybe he works better in groups than he opposed individually. Who knows? So you take him to a tutor and say, hey, look, my kid's struggling in this subject. My kid's struggling in this. Can you help him? And that's kind of where I go off of on that aspect. I kind of just went off a little bit there, but it's like I had to kind of get that out there because it's like I'm going through my licensing stuff right now, and I'm hearing different things here from coaches here, coaches there, coaches there, and then the instructor. I'm just like, guys, like we're making this sound so complicated when it's so simple.
Like how Jermaine Jones was putting it.
It's like it's so simple, guys. Like we're really making this so complex to the point where it's like, why?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to do it this way. It's like there's things that were said, and I'm like, all right, if we want to do this better, then we got to change the language a little bit. I get we want to have fun. But it's like any kid that comes to me, any parent that comes to me, I tell them straight out. I don't come to them. I don't tell them like, hey, man, I really want your kid. I need your money. Like, no. I tell them, your kid needs a lot of work in this. Your kid needs that. But again, it comes from what I've learned from the coaches I was mentored by. And then when I tell them this, I said, look, 2 days with me, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to be enough. He's going to learn. He's going to get better over time. But if you want your kid to be where you think you want him to be, then you have to do this. You have to do that. You have to do that. And it's like, this isn't just for fun. This is a lifestyle now.
Yeah.
This becomes a lifestyle, which is what I tell them. I said, you want to have fun? You can make it fun in your own way. If you have to understand that you putting your kid in this competitive environment is no longer, I feel like going today. I don't feel like going today. No. You're putting time and effort and money into this, so you better be showing up and doing this all the time. And on top of that, doing more than what you just did. Yeah. In order to get where you want to go. And some are like, well, they're just kids. Then don't put your kid in it. This is why I tell you, don't do this if you're not ready for this. If you're not ready to give up your time and your weekends and whatever, then don't do this. But then again, it's like you have to know where to balance everything. You have to know where to be parent. You have to know when to be this. You have to know when to be that. Because a lot of times what happens with some of these kids is they get burned out because their parents want them playing 3 times a day, 3 different games, and winning this trophy and winning that trophy. And it's like, it's great as a kid. You always say, well, they have all the energy in the world to do it. But then there's going to come a point in time when it's like, the kid's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. I just want to stay home. Can I just go play and then just come back home? There's kids like that. Mm. And it sucks because those kids that are like went through their years of 7, 8, 9, all the way to 13 years old. And then they just all of a sudden say, I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
And it's it's no fault to the parent because the parent doesn't know. I feel like it's fault to us as the coaches in the sense to not educate them well enough to say, look, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
In the sense, it's like, you can still do all this stuff and play and go and train and whatever, but you don't have to go do all of that extra stuff in the sense of like getting to where you need to be right now, because your kid will get there. It's just now about how you're going to get there and when is the right time to get there, And I had a point about something, but I kind of just lost it. Oh, no. The age groups. I always say, I've told this there because I've been in this so long now. And I don't know if many can agree with me, but between the ages of 12 and 14, I truly, truly, truly believe that is the hardest age to coach. Because all these kids are going through now middle school, puberty, lifestyle,
Adolescence,
all that stuff. Where before, when they're elementary kids, they go to school, they see their friends, that's it.
That's life.
That's life. They go train, they do homework, whatever. But once you hit middle school and then transitioning to high school, it's a completely different lifestyle.
Responsibilities come in.
Because not only that responsibilities come in, but now you're going in with a friend where it's like, hey, let's go hang out and do this.
Yeah.
But this kid has nothing to do with sports.
Right,
but
right.
he's your best friend. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll go. And you do this, you do that. And you're kind of now brought into a whole different realm of like, whoa, wait a minute. There's something outside of soccer?
Yeah.
And it's like, holy crap, I want to get into that.
Right.
That looks fun. And it's like, okay, that's fine. Go do that. And then it's kind of like little by little, they start getting influenced around the things around them. So then it's like, okay, well, wait, do you really want to do this or do you really want to go do this instead? Mm-hmm. You got to make a choice now. So I don't oppose when their parents like, oh, I want to put him in track. I want to put him in baseball. I want to see what he does. That's great. Do all that. At the young age, yes, do all that. But there's a certain time and point where it's like, if you really want to continue one of those things, it has to become more in tuned and focused on that.
Right.
And a lot of, like I said, people lose sight of that. And especially when they get to that 12, 13, 14 ages. And I tell many people this. And I said, this is a long haul investment. I said, you're going to put a lot of time and effort. What is your end goal here? Because parents will come to me and say, oh, I want you to do this, Mikey. But my response to them is, what do you want out of this? Yeah. I don't need you. You need me for something.
Right.
I don't need you. What do you want out of this? Do you just want your kid here just because you don't want him at home doing nothing?
Right.
Then don't bring him to me. Because he's not going to give me forth the effort that I'm going to expect. Go somewhere else. But if you're going to come to me and tell me, well, my goal here is to provide him to do this, and we're looking into that. We want to get him here. We want to get him at this level. Okay, bring him here. I will help you and guide you in that direction. Now, will you stay with me forever? Probably not. But I'm going to point you in the right direction in terms of where you need to go and how to get there. And again, like I said, that comes again with the coaches and trying to educate these parents and explaining it to them. Where others, it's like, hey, I want to bring my kids. Oh, he's good. Yeah. Bring him. But it's like, well, wait a minute. Hold on. Is he going to be beneficial to you and the team? Or is this coach even beneficial for you, for your kid? You know, the same goes with education and the schooling, which is kind of why I brought it up. It's like when parents, go to these schools and whatever, it's like, do we put them in this school? It's like, it's right down the street. Or, which again, I don't oppose any of this, do we send them to a private school? Or the private school does this and does that, and the ratings of them going to college is this and that, and da-da-da-da. But then again, it's like, wait, hold on. Do we put them in private school right now at, ages 7 through 10? Or do we do it later when he gets to high school? Because that I've been in that not been in that situation, but I've witnessed that conversation when somebody had their kid in public school and then realized these public schools he's too advanced for these public schools. It's like, we got to find a school for him to get challenged or for her to get challenged. Mm-hmm. So then they start looking into private schools, which is, this private school does this private school does that. And, it's the same damn thing. It's just nobody really has made that comparison or that acknowledgement to realize it and say, if you're so focused, obviously, on your kid's education to do it this way, and this is what you do to get there, why don't you do it the same here and show the same respect for it here? And I've said this to a few parents, and so I was like, wow, we were never like thought of it that way. Like, it was never put in that perspective for us.
Well, yeah, it's thinking differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've gone through the experience and stuff to understand, like, I've been going through this. So, and then like realizing how you went through school and stuff. And like, you get this epiphany when you get into your own passion of like, wait, I can use that idea. And people don't think that way because we're so, I don't want to sound like Kanye, but we're so programmed into a certain way where like, this is this way, but this way,
yeah.
this way,
No, you're
until
right.
Until someone like you comes along and like actually grabs the ideas. I'm saying, wait, hold on. Do you understand? We're doing literally the same thing, but you're nitpicking certain stuff, you know? But I wanted to, sorry, I don't know if you had more to that, because I wanted to say some of the opposite from coaches from the community college. But if you have more,
yeah, no, sorry, I know where
you went. That's why you kept talking.
I kind of just went, and then it just went into, because for me it just becomes a whole collective.
Yes.
And in the end, it's like, even with these like community colleges, like I was saying, it's like, I know it kind of went kind of way like down to the beginning, but it's like it leads to all of that. You know, it comes down to all of that in the terms of how we build this whole idea and culture of what this sport is. And like when it comes again to the community college coaches, it's like, I get what they do and what they're doing, but it's like too many of them are just there to be there and just be able to say, I coach college. And it's like, all right, great, but what are you doing for them?
Right.
You know, what are you doing for them as opposed to what are you doing for you?
Right.
You know, because there's some that are doing for them, like for you, for like themselves, as opposed to doing for them, which is where I went at again, why I kind of went where I went in the terms of how I was discussing it, or talking about it. Whereas if you go to a coach, even we'll go back to the club. It's like before, it's like, oh, I want to go to this club. This club. I heard so many great things about this club. You get to the club and it's like, you get a coach and it's like, well, wait a minute, hold on. Not what I was expecting. Not the coach that I was thinking. You know, that whatever. And that's what it ends up being. And then people leave because like, oh, you know. So for me now, I've told many people this. I work for a club. It is what it is. But I mean, they've kind of agreed to it too, because I've mentioned them. Like nowadays, it's like you're at the club, but who's your coach? You know, before it was like, oh, you play for that club? Oof, dang, yeah, I know that club. Now it's like, oh, you play for that club? Well, who's your coach? Oh, that's your coach? Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, you're at a good team. Yeah, stay there. It's like that's how it is. So that's how we view it now, and it's like I would for any club that I'm at, if I obviously stay here where I'm at, as long as I stay, or for you in previous clubs. It's like the coaches that I would prefer there as opposed to that are not there. It's like you want to represent the club in a way where it's like every person wants to be coached by that coach. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Every coach that is there, every player wants to be coached by. So it's not like, oh, I want to go just to that coach. I want to be here, but I want to go to that coach. I know you got this coach right here and you got that, but I want that coach. I don't like that. As much as people come to me and have done that to me, I'm like, no. Go finish with whatever coach you were with, and you got to go figure that out. You know, if you feel uncomfortable for any reason with that coach, you need to express that, not to me, express it to our head guy or whoever, and give reasons why you feel like this coach should not be here or whatever. How people are just like, I want to be coached by that coach and this and that. I want it where that every person that comes in is like, yeah, I like the coach I'm with. I don't like this coach. I like this coach, because I've been in that realm of it's like you get there and then the coach that you had, you know, is what it is, and then you see another coach, but it's the same age group, whatever. It's like, oh, I want to go with that team instead. So for me, it's like, well, wait a minute, what's this guy doing wrong that these kids are leaving? You know. And is it to fault to his own, or is it to fault to whatever that we did, or is it fault to, you know, this or whatever? Like, what? There's got to be something. And it's happened to me, and it's like, it's fine. For me, whenever a kid leaves me or a parent leaves me, whatever, I never hold a grudge against them, never, because it's like, all right, they obviously I did something not well enough for them to like and for them to want to continue with, but I would say about 80 to 85% of the time they come back and tell me, yeah, you were right. I'm like, yeah, I know I've been in this, man. Like, what do you guys think? That I don't, like, I just pull this stuff out of thin air and just think I'm talking to my ass at the time. Because it's like, I've been in that situation where it's like they leave because they want to do this, they want to do that. Then they go and do all that, and they come back, it's like, yeah, we should have second thought that, or so we should have not really thought of that. And it's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, I've been through this, guys. Like, I don't understand why you guys don't believe in what I say.
Right.
But yeah, when you go to your schooling and teaching, it's like, okay, yeah.
It's really odd, huh?
Yeah, it's like, what? 2 + 2 is 75?
Like it.
You got it. I'm in. Like, that's literally how it is. It's like,
You're coming with.
yeah, I'm like, okay, so like, all right, it is what it is. But that's why even when you get to college, they have that for college. Like, they have it in the aspect of like, because I did this and I didn't know about this when I first got to college and I had a friend that was in it. Apparently they rate teachers and they actually put like whole everything about them. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to go to that teacher. The teacher sounds like horrible. Like, I'll go to this teacher for this class or whatever. Like, it's the same class, but it's like, this teacher, like, oh, don't go to this teacher. If you go through this, don't go to this teacher because you're gonna have a horrible time. They don't pass their students. Da, da, da. It's like, oh shit, like, yeah, I don't want to do that. But then they said, but if you want, this teacher does this, they help you with this, they're helpful. Da da da. It's like, yeah, I'll go to that. So in reality, sometimes I kind of hope they kind of do that for coaches. It's like that way for them. It's like if I were to see something like that, I mean, everybody takes their criticism differently. For me, it's like I enjoy the criticism because it's only going to better me. It's only going to help me.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to help me in improving whatever it is I need to do. So there's times where it's like I get into the zone where it's like I don't want to say I'm comfortable enough, but it's like, am I doing this right? Or am I like, is this going well? Or like, did I do something wrong? Because even like when players leave me, like I question that. It's like, well. But then I kind of make the realization of understanding why. It's like, okay, yeah, because I was doing this. What it is, what it is. If they want to do it that way, that's fine. I'm going to still try to do it this way because I don't think that was too much of a criticism for me to completely change my dynamic on how I do things. Where there's some aspects where it's like, yeah, I can't do that with this, or I can't do it this way. I got to do it this way. Where it's like, okay, now I can fix it and still get to where I'm trying to get at in terms of what I want to do. So that was kind of my whole spiel on the idea, because again, it builds into what I see community colleges as in the terms of what they do for them as opposed to what they do for themselves.
Right. So I want to take on what you said and piggyback off of it from my perspective.
Yeah.
Of being around it as much as I could. Like I said, I'm around. Is that you or me?
That's you. Mine's on vibrate.
I'm coming from a perspective as a brother, as a concerned parent somehow, and also as a fan and a passionate fan of the sport.
Yeah.
From what I said, just from seeing you in the high school area and from seeing you a little bit when you were at the college level coaching as an assistant a little bit, and having our older brother in the college realm and meeting your mentor Edgar and those things. Like, I take all those things in consideration as I see our youngest brother go into the community college realm of playing. And what I want to say is that hopefully it's more informational from an aspect of where I'm coming from and what I've seen happen in front of my eyes, in a sense where it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. So going off of what you're saying to like those people that really want to coach, those people that really go out of their way at the club level and even at the high school level, like we spoke on earlier. So the reason why I wanted to bring up the community college level is that there's certain aspects that a lot of these high school kids do not know.
Yeah.
Like, it's a high percentage. And it's high percentage that I've realized and have gone through and experienced just, again, from the outside looking in, and also kind of being in the mix of what the word is and how you converse and how you say about certain things, like you just said now. I apply that to a lot of stuff that I care about because I've seen my closest brother, the youngest one, go through some stuff.
Yeah.
From not understanding what exactly these kids have any idea what you have to do to go to the next level, even if it's community college where you basically just walk to the field and say, hey, I want to play, but they don't know the ins and outs of like, hey, you need this, you need that, you need these classes, or you need to go here real quick, you need to do that real quick, you need to get that done real quick. And a lot of these kids are like, wait, what? Like you said, like in high school, shit was given to me. It was easy. I just had to go there. But now it's like into the real world. It's like, okay, it's put in the effort if you want to continue to play. But at the same time, I'm coming from an angle of as the coach.
Yeah.
There's like you said, there's coaches that I've seen from the high school level to even the college level where you're like, hey, that guy's just collecting the check. He's not really a coach. And I've seen that. And I've seen the I think outstanding product that they have. Well, I don't want to say product, but the astounding talent and players that they have at certain coaches have that they don't even realize.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, oh, maybe there is something here. So what I'm trying to nitpick and kind of somewhat rant is that the experience that I've seen at certain coaches, it's like, oh, I think you're just, again, collecting your check, but you're literally like working for the school.
Yeah.
At this point, at this level, I understand looking back from my experiences of going to college from playing football and getting a partial scholarship and going here, like the looked at and the feeling of like a young athlete, like, oh, they're looking at me, they want to talk to me, they want to give me this. Like that aspect is really precious to these kids, these athletes. It's like, it's an actual feeling that they really believe that someone's like, hey, we want you here. Mm-hmm. And this is what we have to offer you here because of the talents that you showcased us at a certain point in time. And then there's coaches at a certain level of community college where it's like, I seen where it's like, yeah, okay, a simple phone call. Okay, just have them come through. Okay, I get it. This person may not have the promotion of like you knowing who he is and being around what you got going. But then it got me to learn who these coaches are. Yeah. As I went through a certain process to see that, you know, from understanding of like, oh, this is how these guys play, and this is how that plays, this is how this coach does his thing. So throughout this one season in the community college that I was around with, you know, I even asked you, it's like, no, like certain coaches should know who their starting players are by game 2, 3, or even before the season at this level of college athletics. Yeah. And that's what really kind of like was embedded in my head throughout the season. It's that the community college that we went to, that I'm not really going to say, is that I was a bit confused because it was the same college that you were around, and even our oldest brother was playing, and it's like, okay, the dynamics have changed from what you're speaking on. Mm-hmm. And what I saw was, and I'm trying to put this to any viewer, any college kid that's watching, or any kid that's watching right now and wants to go to the next level, to understand that it's not shit talking. Yeah. It's not saying that someone's completely bad in the sense that we don't like them. It's the understanding of the experience that I've gone through and seen from the outside in into details, and coming from questions that I asked my brother of why this and why that. So this particular school that as a community college was able to get a certain amount of players. They have a cap, whatever it is, 30 on the roster, whatever the case may be. But me taking my experience as a football player, thinking like, okay, this person might experience a certain level of the same similarities. Yeah. Where when I played, there wasn't necessarily cuts. People just cut themselves. Because 1, they're not getting playing time. 2, they just felt like they weren't good enough. And 3, they just didn't have the grades or the paperwork that everyone kept telling them how to go do. Yeah. Which, again, it's effort in the player on that part. But again, it's what I'm calling. I'm going on the view of the coach. So if the coaches see these players and it's all right, cool, we got 30. Great, these guys are good enough to play the team. All right, now the next steps is like, okay, who are my starters? Who are my sub-ins? So then as the season went on for this college, it kind of dawned on me. It's like, wait, hold on. I just noticed that this player was doing so well in the 15 minutes, and he was starting the game. And then as I was looking at it, it's like you were winning the game, but then you subbed them off. In no sense of like me understanding already by how what you told me of like tactics and what you told me of like how the game should be in the first 15, 20, like even just watching soccer, like I know enough to be like, wait, what was the purpose of taking this person out? Right? So to me, it dawned on me throughout the season of this type of coaching where I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you put a player that has no business of going in right now? You have the game, it's in your hand, and once you made these subs, you completely turned the game around and said, hey, the other team, you guys can score 2 more goals. Because whatever reason in my thought as that coach is to put them in. So as the season goes on, I'm trying to understand. Coaches have different systems. But again, you kept saying, well, coaches have the players that he wants to play, especially in the college level. And to me, that makes more sense than high school in some sense. Because when you're in college, you have the opportunity to play or be at the college for 3 full years. 1 year, you're able to basically do what's called a red shirt, which you don't play. You have your full classes, but you're participating in practice, meaning you have the 2 extra years to actually play. Meaning they give you that opportunity. Meaning like if you want to exceed in your sport and develop, they're giving you 3 years. And I don't know if this type of coaches say that nowadays or this one specifically, because throughout the season and the time that we've been around this college, nothing changed. There was players that were like, I was surprised there were really good players that left this college. They're like, nah, man, this, we didn't like this, and this. And then I started, after all that, I started adding everything up. I was like, it makes sense. There's coaches nowadays that, again, they just collect checks. And it's funny because this specific coach is out. He took a week off during the season to go have some type of mini vacation. And how you can tell? From his Instagram. I'm like, bro, we're in the middle of the season and you're telling me you went here. Like, if there was something important you had to do, then I get, and you just went off the beach for a little bit. Don't even post it, man, because that to us makes it look like you're like, bro, we're giving our all, but you're not even here for us. Yeah. So right then and there, when I noticed that, I was like, oh, fuck. I was already saying, like, is this how it's going to be? This is how it really is. That throughout the season, yeah, again, same type of tactics. The best players were playing, and these guys get taken off, and it's like, yo, dude, you had the game. You have good players. So what I'm saying is there's coaches out there that these players, what I'm saying to you guys, the viewers and the players who are watching, understand your ability and understand if this coach is the right coach for you. I'm not saying nitpick and be like have a preference in a sense of like
a diva, prima donna or whatever.
Right, not that, but like understand your game. Understand like what this coach is really about.
Yeah.
And you can actually know what he's really about within the month or maybe even sooner in the way his tactics are and the way his demeanor and his body language is. That's just my personal view on how I see people. So what I'm saying is, like, if you catch yourself in a specific school, understand that you might waste your time. Even if you're like the best player in the league, from the specifics that I saw in these 2.5 years, the best player never got to play full 90 games from start of the season to the finish. If he was that good, meaning like, yo, if you're that good, you should be on the field at all times.
Yeah.
In my opinion, as a coach, like, yeah, that's my best player. He's not coming off the fucking field.
Yeah.
Why? Because I need him, and he is the best player.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit about the guy that just got here 2 months ago and he made the roster and like we got to put him in to get some time. Like, no, like you're already wasting his clock, which what means is when you set foot on the field in college, your clock starts of saying like, hey, you got your full-time classes, you're playing. So there's enough record of showing that you were doing something here to play. So that means like it starts. You can't really get that back unless there's an appealment that you can actually do, but it's very difficult.
Yeah. So
what I'm saying is that if you're that type of player, like, coach, I need more time. I think I need a redshirt year. Don't put me in. But he's like, no, I'm going to put you in because he feels like everyone should play, which is fucking beyond me is what I'm saying. And what I'm trying to tell certain players that are going into the next level, really kind of do your research. If you have a past player that you know that, hey, you went there, cool. How's the environment? How's the culture? How's the coaches? Are they really for you? Are they really about like exceeding and getting these people out? Because I tell you right now, this current season that's happened, that one player has been really getting looked at as the other colleges that school played against. In Mount Sac specifically, I think they have a pretty good program to get people out, at least looked at. Same with, as I noticed, past 2 years, same with Fullerton College. Like, I don't know these people, but I've seen from the outside in, looking at, okay, they're able to at least get what is important to the college athlete is to get out and to get to the next level. Now, again, if I noticed when I seen Mount Sac play, they don't sub a lot. Meaning there's guys that are on that squad, it's a 30-man roster, probably not going to play a lot. There's a percentage that this coach, like that type of coach to me is like, I got my guys, I got my starting 11, they should be the guys that play 90 to 80% of the season. Mm-hmm. No matter what, because that's who I've chosen as a coach to bring the best talent out there and put it out on the field.
Yeah.
So again, the whole reason why I'm saying this is I've experienced something that's not fair to players that I've seen on this certain college that kind of just slipped away from the cracks because of a certain coach just wants to collect a check and not really necessarily do anything for their players.
Yeah.
And it dawned on me from the beginning of a simple what's that called, fundraiser. I put in some money and never got to see what the fundraiser was for. Now, I'm not accusing this person taking money. I'm just saying, like, you said it was a certain amount. I gave that money to that fundraiser, and then it was told that there was a magazine and even my ad was going to be in it, and it never came out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, whatever. I lost whatever amount I did, but that's what you said. So be it. So what I'm saying is, again, players that you're looking into the next year, understand, again, you have to do your research. Talk to the players previously. Don't be scared. But understand there's coaches out there that really don't go all the way from start to finish to get you to the next level. And that's what's scary, to see these type of athletes put in effort, put in time, especially that time to fucking go to the school, to fucking drive where you need to go and be like, yo, I did all this for today just to play the season like this. Fuck all that. Like, you're telling me, like, I did my part.
Yeah.
But you're not fair enough to me to say, like, yo, I appreciate doing your part, but you're a red shirt. Okay, I appreciate you're telling me the truth.
Yeah.
I appreciate you're putting me in an understanding that this program is at the level to tell me that.
Yeah.
You're telling me where my talent is at a level, in a sense, because I came here, and it's the way that the style you have to play for your squad, that you're telling me, hey, you're good enough, but we have 2 or 3 guys ahead of you. Meaning that those 3 guys ahead of me should be 90% of the time playing the season.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, red shirt. As opposed to, like, nah, we're going to take all 30 guys and play everyone, and if they don't like it, they can just like fade away on themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what's fucked up, because when they want to go to a different school, they're like, yo, you already played, so you only got 1 year here, or you got a semester until, and then that's what fucks them up in the transcripts. And then they look at, like, hey, D1's like, nah, well, you did this, this, and this. And again, these coaches don't say those things. And it's getting me kind of frustrated to a point where I'm passionate enough to find a way to give more information to these kids on understanding where they're going. I may not know all these coaches. I may not know who they specifically are and care enough to get to know them at this point. But what I'm trying to say is that being through something like that and experiencing like that from the football side is very similar still in soccer in the States. Yeah. The only thing that's different is soccer has clubs. Soccer has different outlets that you can go further if you really want to. But I'm talking about the kids that take the fucking time to go out of their fucking way to play at a collegiate level, at a community college, to get looked at and possibly go somewhere further than where they're at. That's what they're doing. I'm not saying that the key is to win a championship there and league and conference or whatever. I think the most important thing, like you said earlier, it's like the last chance that they have to go to another level. Yeah. That's really the main goal for these community college kids, these athletes, is to go to the next level. If your team is good enough to win those titles, great, cool. You'll get more looked at. There's more coaches and recruits and scouts coming around you because of the prestige that's built. But if you're able to have that instinct, not the instinct, but like the connection of a coach that is players that cares, go to that school. Yeah. Ask those questions before you go there. Hey, coach, are you going to go out there for me? Because I'm going to put it all out for you. Are you going to be out there after the season hitting up these coaches? Fuck no. Like, this type of coach is sitting back drinking a margarita while other coaches at the moment are calling him trying to ask about the certain recruit, and he doesn't pick up the phone.
Yeah.
So that, to me, it's like, yo, bro, this guy doesn't give a shit. Like, he's picking up a check.
Yeah.
He's really picking up a check and saying, like, cool, I'm doing my part. And what sucks is even the college athletic department doesn't see that.
Yeah.
And hopefully if they can see and hear me out, like, you have to understand, like, if you really care about these kids, apparently because you don't want them to catch COVID, so you fucking implement COVID restrictions. Okay. When all that happened about COVID, I was like, what the fuck are you guys going to do about the kids that were ready to transfer?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to figure it out. What the fuck do you mean you're going to figure it out? They guys had nothing implemented for these kids to continue and say, hey, you know what? If you want to stay here an extra year, or you go do your thing. And so many kids from this program literally slipped away from the cracks and said, fuck, I mean, I'm just going to go make money, I guess. Mm-hmm. Because you're saying you care about their health, but yeah, you don't care about them exceeding, yet that's what you promote at these colleges. Oh, look at all these other colleges. Look, you can transfer here. You can transfer there. Do this. Get this grade point average. Okay, they're doing everything you're saying. But when it comes down to something like this, it slips away from your hands. And it's like, well, I mean, we can't do that. Yeah, I mean, it's simple. Pick up the fucking phone. Another coach is calling you. Get the right faculty in that sport to exceed your programs, to exceed the level of prestige for these other kids to be there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I know the dynamics of college at this point of like as much schools as much athletes and people we get, we're getting money to our school. That's what really you're telling me.
Yeah.
You know, so the reason why I bring this up is because I've been able to be around it for a couple of years, and it's just mind-boggling how certain schools don't really take advantage of the opportunity, what they say they want to talk about, what they preach.
Yeah.
You have another school that since I've been there, the same coach is there, and not once have they really done anything amazing. They went to the playoff once, and that coach is still there. I'm not saying fire the coach. I'm just saying put a little strong arm and be like, hey, if you really want to do something, let's bulk up. Let's bulk up in this program. Because back then people cared, at least when I was in college.
Yeah.
Because as I look at it now, some of these programs, these schools are just like high school, how we spoke on. It's like we just have him there.
Yeah.
He's taking care of it. As long as he doesn't do anything to cancel himself.
Yeah.
And then like all of a sudden rape a kid or something.
Yeah.
Like we're good. Just take care of it because we don't want to bother.
Yeah.
Because football brings in our revenue and brings in our money for athletes and for programs. Again, I understand the dynamics. But it's simple, man. It's simple. If you get a complaint or if you get some type of people that back and say, hey, this is horrible. I thought this coach was like really going to do something for us. We may have like perfect example. And it's the same school. When I was playing at Citrus College, the school that we played football against, or no, we didn't get to play against them. We would hear them in the paper. They went 0-10. And their whole starting line went Division I. Because of that coach put effort into getting these players out.
Yeah.
But it's not like that anymore for certain schools.
Mm-mm.
And it's what's tough to tell these kids, waste 2 years, waste 3 years at this community college for them to do everything on their own last minute or right at the end of the college. Yeah. Which basically you kind of have to do at this point. And it's like, well, why the fuck should I play for you? If I'm at the end of the season, I have to do everything for myself. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, yo, dude, like, come on. Like, these type of schools need to look into that, in my opinion. It's very nerve-wracking. It's very tough to even see and to go through because, again, it's someone's actual life spent time in to look at it and be like, really, dude? Like you're about to go to a vacation. Like, we got like 10 players trying to leave right now, and you're not even making one call for us.
Yeah.
Not fucking one call. To see, like, at least you can help us give them a good word where they don't even have to even spend more money and time to go to a camp, to fly out, to be like, yo, we need to see you. Like, maybe that one phone call that you can pick up would be the deciding factor. Like, you know what? Cool. Well, you know what? So-and-so, your coach said this is what we needed to hear. Good. Here's the offer.
Yeah.
That simple. That fucking simple. And to see these things, like, see good players try to decide, like, yo, did I just fucking waste my time then?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to say one more thing to the players that if they watch this, they hear me, and you're in a current situation like that, by all means, do transfer. Because if this person doesn't throw out the prestige of one guy going to a good school and that player thanking him, it's going to happen to you, man, because you're a great talent and you don't deserve that type of, what's the word? That type of receivement from a coach of like, hey, thanks for playing for us. I'm going to go take a vacation. Yeah. Like, fuck no, dude. If he's really into this type of, again, the way he said stuff earlier, if there's a coach that's really into this and really passionate about this, they go out of their way for their own as well, their own reputation, their own prestige to further themselves. Like, fuck no, you say so-and-so coach who, where, like you said, like, I mean, at this level, why the fuck we're going to hire him? Why would I put him in my program? What have you done? Here's your little stats and stuff. Okay, but like, How many players can like back you up and say, "Hey, this is the guy that got me where I needed to go"?
Yeah.
And there's people that say stuff like that, even from the professional level. He's a father figure. He watched out for me. He was there for me. Fuck no. This is my first time. This is my first time seeing a coach where I'm like, I can fucking do better. And I'm not really licensed as a coach.
Yeah.
But I've experienced what these kids want to go on for and better themselves.
Yeah.
Like I know that feeling because
Yeah.
I was there. I tried it. I did everything myself. The coach did it as much as he could. I was fortunate enough that my school at that time had its own little like after season combine where coaches come by, and that's what the coach said. Hey, if you didn't get looked at, I need you to go there. And if it's up to you, if you don't want it, but he was able to implement that and say, hey, these coaches are coming.
Yeah.
But as opposed to like, yeah, all right, season's over. I mean, when you text me and I don't text back anymore, but when I text you during the season, before the season, like, hey, we got to get the group together. Can you do this? Can you do that? The fuck are you here for? You're the coach. What do you mean you want me to do this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, my whole thing of saying this from high school to community college especially is to understand if you guys have questions, if you guys have any type of questions, ask Mikey, hit us up, DM us, because it's something that I'm really, really looking into and really getting a little bit more passionate about because of situations that I've seen myself in and seen my youngest brother in. It's something that we shouldn't really cross paths. It's something that these coaches may say, well, it's not in my pay grade. Well, fucking, this is not your job. This is not your fucking career.
Mm-hmm.
Do something else if you're just thinking about the pay grade. Because nowadays it's more like, yeah, pay me, I'll do that. I understand that aspect as what I do. But coming into this, that you're nurturing and you're developing young men or young athletes, it takes time to put in the effort. This is the key word that we always say. It's the effort on both sides.
Yeah.
Now, if you know there's an athlete that doesn't give a shit, then you're obviously going to try to do your best to convince them. But if it doesn't work out, that's where it stands. But it's same with the coach. It's like, yo, bro, like, where do we send our complaint? Where's the complaint box?
Yeah.
Really, as a student athlete, like, well, can we do that or not?
Yeah.
Because as much as so much has inspired from the past 2 years of like, oh, we didn't know we can change times. We didn't know we can adjust the game to that time or change it to that field. Yeah. Or we didn't know we have to do that and walk in with a little slip saying that we're vaccinated. Like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? You guys can implement that right away like that, but you guys can't fucking find a way for students to really keep going and care. And that's what the whole point of this community college is to get, not even soccer, in the whole aspect of a community college, is to help these kids get to a next level, correct?
Yeah.
Is to get to the universities. That's the whole point of this,
yeah.
in my sense of understanding community college.
Yeah.
So with that being said, any athlete, anyone that's going into that right now, just do your research, man, because it's a lot of So no. With that being said, it's just something that I've witnessed, and it just aggravates towards me because I feel like when I was in that part of college, it was just really something I cared about for my own future. Yeah. You know, I grew up thinking I was gonna go to the NFL, but then like I'm not saying I doubted myself. It was more so like I understand where my limits are. I understand where my skills was at. But at the same time, it was more like, okay, I'm able to at least go to the next level to do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there was at least what I cared about from these type of coaches that I came across and had my pathway. They understood the same thing, meaning like, Oscar, you're decent enough to do this, and we can get you to that point. Yeah. Meaning like you're not so-and-so, your buddy who's like Division I quality. Like I understood that at that time. Mm-hmm. But what I respected and admired was the coach being honest with me about it. Yeah. Being straight up into my face. It's like, hey, after assessing these 2 years that you were here, this is your best bet. Yeah. From your grades to the skill level to your performance here. Like you did this amount much, and we believe that this is what is next for you. So what we have is the program that's going to come in and bring these coaches in for players like you that still need to get looked at. And that's literally the only effort I needed to hear. Because to me, again, as much as I'm going to say, it mind boggles me that there's athletes out there that have to do every little thing for themselves right now. And some of them get discouraged because it makes them feel like shit. It makes them feel like I didn't do anything, so I have to do all this. Mm-hmm. Not like a prima donna, but it's like, isn't the whole idea of a coach in community college to help you get out? Yeah. Isn't the whole point? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not asking him to fucking stay up all night and not be with his family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what you said kind of earlier. The network nowadays is a little bit more easier. It's a simple email, a simple pickup of a phone.
I think what happens. Oh, just real quick. I think what happens is like it becomes so convenient that it just it makes them lazy enough to be like, I could do it later,
and then it just gets swept away.
It just gets it gets forgotten because it's like, I think like how you like backtrack just a little bit. The coach that you said that team that went 0-10, but yeah, all those kids went D1. It's like I think then the outlet of, I guess you could say, social media or connecting with somebody wasn't as convenient or accessible as it is now. Back then it's like, yeah, you got to make the phone call, yeah, you got to do this, you got to do it for almost each individual player. Or it's now it's like you don't have to do for almost every individual player, but you could do it enough in the sense where it's like at least one or two may get an opportunity to get a spark to get looked at. Where
let me say something, please.
Oh no, I know, but I just kind of wanted to go off that in the terms of I think why some of these coaches now it's like it's so convenient for them that they've become lazy just to even try and do it now, because it's like it's right here. Do I really want to do that right now? Yeah, I'll do it later. like that's kind of how I see it in the terms of like how some of these, at least some, I can't speak for all of them, but just some.
Well, yeah, no. Again, to say to that is like, again, it's so convenient now, but again, it's going back to, at the end of the day, the same word that I've used and we all have used in this podcast is the effort, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to say is that back then, that coach understood that was his job, no matter what the outlets were.
Yeah.
That coach back then from that school that went 0-10, he knew that was part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to be at this point and act like that's not part of the job anymore because they think social media can do it for them.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's maybe what this coach is thinking. Like, well, if they're doing it already, why do they need me?
Exactly.
It's well, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, why even be here? Like, why the fuck did we play for you? Why we wake up early? Why did we do the fucking trainings that you wanted?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of like what I was saying. Like, it's like, well, what do I got to do? Like, they're already kind of doing it themselves. Like I said, it's more convenient now. It's like, I don't really have to do it. You know what I'm saying?
And to this day, like, I hope the people that watch and understand, like, those type of coaches don't need no fucking things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want to thank all my coach. Like, fuck, take the ones that actually helped and put the effort in to get you to a certain point. Even your parents, your brothers, your cousins, whoever takes the time to understand what's going on to help you with information or some way, thank those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that coach let you play, but at the same time, was it the way you actually thought it was going to be?
Yeah.
Because I always see, it's interesting because when I used to play, like, we kept most of the same players the next year in college. So when I went to community college, at that time, we were like, okay, we knew who left because that was their second year and they were getting out. And some of the returners were mainly the same ones from the last season. It's just new faces that finally plugged in the hole. With this, it's like almost the whole team changes every year.
Yeah.
Because of those coaches, because of that type of program that's out there. It's like, yo, you can't maintain these players to stay here. Why? Because of the way this program is and the way it's set up. It's not even, we're not even asking for, like, I'm not even asking for the school for extra money for this coach to do his job.
Yeah.
I'm literally saying, pick up the damn phone, bro. Like, these guys are calling you.
Yeah.
Make a call for them. It's been since November.
Yeah.
And not one call for these type of players that are sophomores that's supposed to go out.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. Again, it's more the information that I've been through, guys. It's more of like understanding for you future players, even from the high school level, like understand where you want to go. I'm not saying that every school you're going to make it at, because again, I think Mount Sac has a pretty good program to understand the talent that they want and the players that they expect to get. And that's the type of level that you're going to endure. Then you have to get to that level and respect it, because if they come at you and talk to you and tell you the reasons, because I felt like the experience that I've known players that said, hey, I was on the team and then they cut me. And I'm thinking like, you're good. So what did they say? And if they were nice enough to tell you what they said, that's the truth. That's the respect that they were looking for. It's like, hey, look, this is why you didn't make it. We wanted it this way, but we allowed you to see if you can figure that out as an athlete. We're not going to tell you the answers. It's like the reason why you're trying out and the reason why we're giving the opportunity is for you to evolve.
Yeah.
We're coaching you in the moment, but at the same time, we can't say, hey, pass the ball like this, or hey, coach, like run like that. It's like, no, like we're trying to get our players implemented to the style that we want.
Yeah.
Right. So again, don't get discouraged. It's more like, hey, now you know where you're at the
Yeah.
level that you go to the next.
Yeah.
Again, it's going back to what we said earlier. It's like you're not giving all this shit in high school because you're the best. Because once comes like programs like that, those type of programs take it serious. We're like, yo, like if I keep losing, and there's some type of higher ups in those type of programs in the at least in the community college level, maybe there's programs or schools that are like, hey, like if you're losing too much, we might try to find another coach.
Yeah.
Or you might feel like, hey, you can't do it, and you're gonna want to leave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then there's the level after that get paid good money and say, hey. And I remember my coach at Citrus when I was playing football. He said it the best. He's like, I'm not losing my job for the guys that think that they can play and then don't and whine about not playing.
Yeah.
He really truly said to us, he's like, look, I have a family to feed. If I can give you the information to become a good player and you take effort to exceed, you're going to play. But I'm going to give you back that same effort.
Yeah.
And that was the best thing I've ever heard going into college, because it's true.
Yeah.
Looking back at it, it's like, yeah, I know people now. Your father, coaches, yeah, they need to fucking feed their family. This is their career.
Mm-hmm.
So why am I going to put a shitty-ass player and thinks that he's a shit to keep losing and I lose my job?
Yeah.
I'm not doing my job.
Yeah.
That's plain and simple. But again, a lot of these coaches and a lot of these schools don't really see it that way anymore, which is very tough.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can tell yourself as an athlete, look, I want to go play with the best, understand you're going to play against the best and you're going to compete against the best. You can't get discouraged if you don't make it.
Yeah.
That just means you're at a level that you need to understand. So, I got to up my level somehow. So if you go into another certain school who's like second, third, fourth type tier or level or at the table, like just understand that. Again, look into it, research it, look at the coaches. What I do the best is like how many guys leave. I don't even give a shit. The way I check this when I used to play, and I saw from starting community college to now, and I still check it this way, I check how many guys leave and go to the next level from D1 to D2 and NAI. Honestly, I don't give a shit about D3. That's just like another high school for me that just pays a lot of money and it's college level. That's it. I don't care. So what I'm saying is like, if I look at these programs and like, damn, like in the past year, they got like 5 guys to go D2. Cool. That means something's going on there. Mm-hmm. That means something's going on that the prestige is showing you, look, if you come here and do what we tell you to do and you do it right, you can be another guy like that. But if you're showing me a school that shows like 3 or 4 guys that went to NAIA or a few D3s and you guys and they're excited about it and do an article, come on now. It just tells me like there's no effort, there's no prestige, because I've seen these players play and they're better than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, athletes that are currently going into that transition after high school. I know high school right now is still into the playoffs, but when you get to that point, start doing your research now, man. Like that's, if I can give you any type of advice, look at the college and look at how many players get out of that college to a good, decent school, at least D1 to D2. And if you're capable of being that guy, then take your chances on you. Bet on yourself and say, hey, I'm going to go all out and try it. And if, again, you can't get discouraged. If they don't keep you on the roster, you get cut. You look into yourself, look in the mirror and say, yo, like, I need to better myself. I know where I'm at now. Now, I'm not saying that coach is telling you that's exactly who you are and you're not going to make it in any other school. Again, I understand that coaches have a style they want certain players in soccer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I heard someone get cut, it's like made me understand, like, well, what do they need? What was it that okay, there's a certain type of play that they wanted, and I'm like, maybe that's not cut out for that guy.
Yeah.
How it was in high school. So if you can also better yourself to understand even more different positions, because I was going to get to that a little bit, from the last guy that we spoke to, the professional who plays right back now, right?
Yeah.
At Cincinnati FC. So he put it simple. He put it very simple. He was discouraged because he was a striker, and then coaches started noticing, like, hey, you're more of a wing back, a right back, and he was like, what? And he said it, and every single person that I noticed said similar. Is like, you gotta do what you can to be on the field and play, because that's what matters.
Yeah.
So if they tell you, hey, you're not a striker, you're more of a 10, you're a 10.
Yeah.
The reason why is because maybe you don't see it because it comes second nature. So some players are just, it's like second nature. Like I remember you asking a little kid, like, how do you know this? Oh, I don't know. I just do it. Like, do you watch soccer? It's like, no. I was like, and to you, it's like, how do you know how to play like this?
Yeah.
It's because it's second nature. It just naturally comes out that way. And that's what these kids need to understand. When someone tells you, hey, this is the reason why you're good to be on the field, is because this ability that you have.
Yeah.
So understand when you get to the next level, understand your best abilities to be on the field, because that's what matters. So if I seen you from high school since freshman to now, and you've been the striker, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey man, they got me at holding mid, or they got me at here and here. It's like, are you playing? Are you starting for this school? Yeah. I was like, so why are you upset?
Yeah.
But I want to well, I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying that these coaches are seeing the best ability that you can do for this level now.
Yeah.
You know, but if you want to prove them wrong, you have to do more than you think you're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of these players don't get. It's like, look, you can tell me all day, like, I've been doing that. No. What you think you're doing, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's not enough to get to a level that you want to be at. And the perfect example, again, like Messi and Cristiano. Again, Messi's a great player, but it's not given, but it's just a magic that he has. It's like he has this God-given talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the whole reason why I love these two so far is that Cristiano is human. Cristiano has been able to put the work ethic and the dedication, like he says. Talent's not going to get you far. It's the work ethic and education and understanding of where you need to be.
Yeah.
If it's eating right, if it's sleeping right, those little things might actually help you become a better player to where you want to be.
Yeah.
And if you're telling me you're a striker and you're like not getting picked at, it's like, well, what's the reason? It's like, well, I tell you right now, in 5 minutes, you're not aggressive. I'm telling you in 5 minutes right now, you're not selfish.
Yeah.
Strikers need to be selfish, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Strikers need to be like, fuck that, I'm scoring every single goal.
Yeah.
And if it happens, that's the guy we want to hear. Like, I don't give a shit. It's like, nah, I'm going to pass it, but I saw the pass. Like, I don't give a shit. If you want to score, you make the goal happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I think about Cristiano. When he plays, he's like, he knows he needs to be scoring the goals at this point in his career because he's a striker. And that's what's important in his game.
Yeah.
As opposed to a Modric,
Yeah.
a De Bruyne,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A Pogba.
Mm-hmm.
Those players understand their roles, but it's perfect example. If anybody knows, what was that? Piqué. He was a forward apparently.
He played like forward a couple games, I think, just because
But,
they needed him.
but apparently he was in a forward, wasn't he? Or
Something
even
like
Bale.
that.
Bale.
Something
Let's go
like
with
that.
Bale.
Oh yeah. Bale.
Who was
started,
Bale? He was a defender?
Bale started as defender, yeah.
Bale was considered defender at Tottenham.
Yeah.
He was literally number 3, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of a sudden something switched where he became a winger.
Yeah.
And it worked. But again, what I'm saying is that these players understood the dynamics of where they started and where they're going.
Yeah.
So this kid Bale was a kid. Same with this whatever kid is coming out of high school. If you think you're a striker, then you got to build that shit.
Yeah.
You got to continue to the next level, understanding how you can continue to be a goal scorer.
Yeah.
Or whatever position. But don't get discouraged if they say, yo, I think you're a right back. I think you're a right back. You got the height. I like the way you pass the ball from this side. Like, be on the field.
Yeah.
You can still score goals. It may not be like every single game, but you can still do part that you can to further your career. But again, those are the type of coaches that really give a shit.
Yeah.
That really sit you down and say, hey, we like who you are, but we think that we've seen the ability to get you to this position the furthest.
Yeah.
And that's literally a coach more or less saying, like, look, I'm taking my time out of the way to tell you this that probably no one's ever told you.
Yeah.
You know, like, again, you came out of high school, you did great, cool, or you came out of another community college, great, but like the ability you have to go further, and if you want to become a professional, is to go the route that we believe in.
Yeah.
And not saying that what you're doing is wrong. It's like, I think you're more effective this way.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why you're on the field more and more. But again, that's all going to the end of coaches having the effort, coaches giving a shit. At the same time, it's like, it's, in any cheesy way to put it, it's like a marriage. It's like a relationship. You both got to work at it. Like, one person can't do everything. It's not going to go that way. It's you got to meet me halfway. And it's those players that really care. Again, if you get two people that really are passionate about something to exceed, it's going to work.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say on that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm right there with you with all that stuff, because that's kind of, I'm not saying it's the same as what we said, but it's kind of in the avenue of what I was trying to explain and say, you know, what it leads down towards again is that make the effort, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how you get the best out of all the kids and players that you end up getting. And you can only do so much on your aspect as a coach, as the person teaching that kid. If the kid don't want to do it, he ain't gonna get it. He ain't gonna do it. Yeah. I've had plenty of players like that. I've had plenty of people like that. That's why I say when I say things to some of these parents, it's like
I forgot about that part. Yes, parents need to understand that too.
It's
if your child is not a forward at a certain age anymore, the parent can't get discouraged. You're gonna fuck up his type of play. Because it's like you said, like this coach needs to understand what he knows and the prestige and the reputation that he's given out to the point they reach that type of parent and coach at that time.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate sometimes because they think they can just get up and leave and so on and so forth. I've seen that too. I've seen that with players that I played against and played with growing up. And now I know from as I'm older seeing it. Like it's like, okay, I'm understanding more what you're saying, you know?
Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, that's high school and college in a nutshell, kind of. 2 hours in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You know, it's only something that I've been wanting to talk about. I really truly hope that we can talk to actual coaches and directors, and hopefully I can reach out and get some of them on, because I know we can talk to so many pro athletes, which is we're fortunate enough. But at the same time, I do want to get people in the other realm of the sport, because it's a lot. It's not just the players as much. These people take time to put their time and effort into something that's supposed to be a career for these coaches, a career for the ADs, a career for the faculty that's supporting these colleges and whatnot. Like it really is like the way I look at it, it's like just the human nature of being fair enough to understanding and the effort. Because if there were just somewhat type of effort, some of these kids could really have gone different ways and better ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, I'm not saying give them everything on a silver platter. Like we said earlier, they have to earn this stuff too. They really do have to earn it, because that's the only way that we can exceed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I agree.
Yep. What else? Is that we're good on that?
I think we're good on that end.
Are we okay with Man U winning today?
Yeah, I mean, season's over for them. I mean, what else?
It's not over, man. We have Champions League.
I mean,
it's a whole different ballgame.
No, I know that. It's just like it's so inconsistent right now, and it's like who knows?
You know what I think, and they've said it too. That the pundits, nothing's changed with the coaches. Like if Ollie was still here, it's probably still be the same shit.
The only thing I would think that'd be the same is the fact that some of the guys that don't get to play, but I think some of the guys that get to play, I think would have gotten a little bit more out of it. Like Sancho was in the build of getting back in there and getting into the team. I think where Sancho is now in the last, I guess you could say, couple games, I think it would have happened sooner for him. You know what I mean? I think a lot of certain things that are happening now, I think would have happened sooner. Just in the sense that the coach already knows who his team is and who his players are. But I still think they'd still run into the issue of trying to figure out matchups and players, because then, certain things with certain players happen outside of the realm, and that basically kind of change the dynamic for certain guys for them to play now.
Yeah.
So it's like it happens. So I don't think I don't want to say it would be any better or any worse, but I don't think it'd be as late as it is now. Because this guy, you gotta remember, this guy just basically has been given like a month, 2 months just to really keep the ball rolling in the sense of where they were at. Whereas the other one was already rolling. It's now, can the speed pick up as it goes along kind of deal, because he had all the guys and everything going on. So it's just like, it feels like they're just kind of still leveled out, because you're going from a coach that was already in the rhythm of what the team is and what everything is, to now it's like somebody just kind of coming in and kind of piggybacking off of that and just kind of left it at that. So I get it. I just see it as inconsistent, and who knows? And then at this point, it's like,
I'm just curious what you think, just for the season, just Premier League wise. Do they keep the same coach? That's one question. Other question: does Ronaldo stay? Do those people too stay after this season?
No.
Even if miraculously win champions,
if they win champions, no.
Both of them are gone.
Both are gone. Because that's already the plan. They've already said that. they've already said that this coach is only staying on as the coach until the end of the season,
which is fine. I get. I'm just saying.
And then I guess throughout the summer they're gonna appoint a new coach, and then he's staying on as like director of operations.
Right. So
for
he's
like
there for
2 years.
directing, which is hopefully he does a better job. But as for Cristiano, I think if he wins champions, in my opinion, he stays. If they only win champions.
Yeah, if they win champions, maybe he stays. But in all honesty, him and Messi, I think this is the year for everyone to finally realize. Thanks, guys.
Is it?
I think so.
I don't want it to be like that.
Because Ronaldo is really trying because it's Ronaldo. And Messi, I feel like I'm in Paris, man. What do I got to do? Like seriously. Just like no lie. Like I'm watching it and it's like, what do I got to do, man? Like I'm just here. I'm just enjoying my time.
It's like Stewie. That was easy.
Like seriously.
Just pass it to Mbappe, man.
Like no joke. Like since the beginning of the season to now, I see Messi as just like, I'm just happy to be here. Like I'm just happy to be here. Whereas Ronaldo, it's like Ronaldo just always puts weight on his own shoulders and just does that purposely for himself.
Yeah.
Which is fine. So again, I see the frustration because that's who he is. He's a competitor. You know, he is what he is. I'm not saying Messi's not a competitor, but I think Messi has gotten to the point now where it's like, I kind of did everything. Yeah. I kind of did everything that I kind of wanted to do in the sense for myself, I feel, for the teams, and for the country. Everything that I've been able to do.
I feel Messi's personality is a soft side in a sense. It's like I don't need it. I don't need to have a conference to talk about where the team is going.
Yeah,
I don't need to sit here and tell you what the fuck's going on and my point of view anymore. Like I've done what I've done, and like this is their team.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's just there. Like he's just happy to be there.
You know what I mean? Like he's. Yeah, but I kind of still feel odd. Like here's the thing. I don't want to take too much time.
Yeah.
As Messi, as to see Messi, like I'm getting surprised if he does fade away because of the style he's playing right now. And some of the pundits said like the last game that against Madrid. I don't think he had a game. Some people say yeah, but like I think some of the pundits say if he plays like that, he just ends up disappearing.
Yeah.
And then at that age, I'm like thinking like, I don't know what you can do more, dude. Like if you're gonna keep playing that way, I don't know if you can play at this high level.
That's kind of where that's what
we spoke on this before.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I think just now it's like
you think like
they really gotta do anything.
Like do you think he's just picking and choose? Like all right, if we make it to the semis, I'm gonna try. You think? That's how he is?
Maybe
like, it's tough to even say that.
Yeah, it is. It is tough to say that, but it could be.
And this is why I don't want to get into it.
Yeah, let's not get into it.
But here, I want to end it with this. This is why I love Maradona more. This guy would passionately play to the fucking end.
Oh yeah,
like that was his.
Oh yeah,
life.
this guy. Yeah.
I'm talking about like when they say this, I'm like I never heard stories of like Maradona disappears. Like no, Maradona didn't play because he was doing coke. Or Maradona couldn't play today because he said some shit and he got into a fight or something. Yeah. Those are the reasons why he couldn't play. Yeah. But like these reasons for Messi, it's like he's disappearing, man. I don't know what's going on. Like he's not really stepping up. So,
but I still think it's just because of what he's accomplished, and it seems like I think he's put it in himself. I mean, it could be wrong, but he's just like I don't really got to prove anything anymore to anybody. Whereas, but again, it's like I still think it's in the realm of what they are because it's. Club is just so many eyes on club, whereas before, like for Maradona, it was country. It was all, like we kind of said that. So it's like for him, he's playing for that on his heart the entire time, which is his persona, and it is how it is. Not saying again, it's not that, but it's just like that's kind of how it's being viewed now. But we could talk about that a whole other time
on the next podcast. We'll see.
Yeah. But I'm good.
All right, we're good. Until next time.
Yep.
Follow, subscribe, do all that jazz.
Yeah.
Comment, DM us. We want questions. We want to talk to people. We're going to reach out as well. And keep watching. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. We're good. Yep. I'm starving.